UConn covered.
Yeah.
NC State couldn't tack on that last score. They had a long time to do it, too.
I know. That's what happens when you give up. Usually what happens when you give up that early score.
God, Nebraska just keeps Nebraska-ing.
Oh, my gosh.
Did you see the end of the first half?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. First and goal at the 4 with a minute.
They went backwards there.
Well, no, yes, but so
Yeah.
they run it first play, they run it down to the 1, and they decide they're going to burn the clock all the way down, and they commit a false start penalty with 8 seconds to go, and then they throw an interception. So they get no points out of first and goal at the 4 with a minute to play in the half. And they dominate the whole second half. And then give it up.
And this just in, the Gators committed another procedure penalty.
Whoa. And welcome to our world with 2 number 3s on the field. Yep. Mm-hmm. Chuck Cooperstein, the voice of the Mavs. We were tweeting back and forth because got into a thing, a bunch of us, about Nick Saban and the depth chart. And I said, well, it's also ridiculous because there's, 90 to 100 guys on the college roster. And he tried to tell me that there's 65 for conference games. I'm like, Chuck, there's 85 scholarship players. They ain't sitting 20 guys out. I go, trust me, there's 90 to 100 guys every game. Duplicate numbers, like 8 of them. And he kept trying to insist. And I'm like, Chuck, 17 years, SEC games. I'm telling you, there's 90 to 100 guys every game.
Now, it used to be the road team didn't travel as many, but they travel as many now too, don't they?
Well, they travel the 85. They may not be able to travel the walk-ons, but they travel the 85. So let me get this straight. You're in Pensacola, you root for the Gators, not the Noles?
He's always been a diehard Gator.
By the way, first game, Adam, tough opener. All right. But yeah, 9 penalties.
Well, and I mean,
I
tell you what, the one thing David said, game 3, you're going to see more of that Wilson. It's time to put playmakers on the field, because if you don't have playmakers on the field, you can't do a damn thing. And 3's a playmaker.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you held Utah after the first play of the game to 200 total yards of offense. The defense held Utah to 3 of 13 on third down. There were some real positives in this game compared to how they played last year. And Mertz was not awful at all.
The procedure penalties killed him more than anything.
Right. And how much of it's on him, and they seem to be moving slowly, but a lot of self-inflicted wounds there. That stuff can be fixed. Well, Adam, listen, Miller and Moulton tried to tell everybody 4 new starters opening at Utah. And once we found out it was going to be a first-time center, we did not like the Gators' chances up front in this game. Offensively. Defensively, they only gave up like 110 yards rushing.
But they can't run I mean, I know it was a good D-line, but they couldn't open up a hole to save their life to run the football.
No. If you take the sacks out of the equation, they ran it 13 times for 42 yards.
I was going to say that's not good enough.
No, not when you want to be a power running team. Yeah, Mertz had no time. I thought he played much better than I thought he was going to play.
I thought that tight end can play a little bit.
Are you really, Rob? Where are you moving to?
Need a house?
Yes, Rob. Okay.
I can help.
He handled my move.
Mm.
Oh, that's all right. You can get like half of the commission, right? You could
referral. You can get a quarter. But
exactly. Well, Orlando, there's nobody living around Orlando, Rob. You'll be very quiet.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
There is something in the air today. It's the first day of September, and it is a football Friday.
Football Friday.
We've already got angst. That's how much of the season we've already played. We've got nothing but Gator fans texting in, Twitch chat room. We suck, stink. Miller and Moulton. How the heck are you? Thanks so much for being with us, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's how you know the season's underway, Mark. We couldn't even get to the start of the show before the texts, the Twitch chat room, and the angst from Gator fans. Here you go. Now we're talking. I have to admit, Gator fans may be unhappy with me today. I'm going to be cup half full Gator guy today.
Yeah, I know you are. A Gator fan doesn't live in the moral victory world, and they're having a little difficult. By Monday, David, there might be reason to start being positive. Today, they're still watching their offensive line jump.
Mark, Gator fan will only start to find the positives on Monday if the Noles lose Sunday night.
It's a damn good point, David. That is a damn good point.
If the Noles beat LSU, this is a completely lost weekend for Gator fan. But first things first, top of the morning to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Football started. What, are you kidding me? I mean,
okay.
Usually on Thursday nights, I'm stuck going to watch my daughter in gymnastics. I just looked at him. I said, I don't know what to tell you. I can't go tonight. UCF starts at 7 o'clock. They're in the Big 12. Did you know that?
And I know they're playing Kent State, and this will walk. I don't care. I got to watch.
I did not get into any of the details, David. Not a one. I just, the wife and I sometimes on Thursday will drop the daughter off, go get a bite, come back, pick her up. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. The Gator game starts at 8. I'm not missing the start of the game. This is important.
Honey, my job. I have to, and you know me, I'm a big UCF fan. Wow, look at you pulling the UCF football card. You sure you weren't looking around for the lightning bolt to hit you after you pulled that so early?
Thinking back, I don't even think I said UCF. I said the game started at 7.
But Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Lee Sterling will join us in less than an hour. He'll give out his first bets of the year. He's also giving out a freebie. No, really, I think you call him up. He's giving you a freebie. So, that's how we're starting the year with Lee Sterling and Paramount Sports. Top of the 7 o'clock hour. Pat Kirwan will join us. Tough day yesterday for Pat. One of his dear friends, Gil Brandt, passed away. Gil Brandt, very much called the godfather of SiriusXM NFL radio. And that was after he helped build the Cowboys into America's team, quite frankly. Gil Brandt, Tex Schramm, Tom Landry. 3 of them worked together for nearly 30 years. And Gil was the personnel guy. And he kind of revolutionized scouting and what have you. And he and Pat, quite frankly, helped build NFL radio, the two of them. And so Pat, I'm sure, will reflect on Gil when he joins us. And then also we'll talk a little bit about the league and what have you. I mean, Mark, after all, we're 6 days away.
I know. Isn't it great?
And think about it. We had football last night. We have football tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, even Monday, little Clemson Duke. All right. Spreads less than 2 touchdowns. Maybe we get a game out of it. And then we catch our breath and boom, Thursday night, baby. I mean, it's almost every damn day. mean, who knows? Maybe the CW's got some sports on Tuesday and Wednesday we can, find to kill our time.
I am already trying to figure, because yesterday, I was able to get my nap in during the day, stay up for the Gator game. I'm already starting to work. We've got our weeks set up for the show. We're pretty much lined up, our guest list, a lot of repetitive guests during football. That's how we do things, weekly guests. But I've started to work on my weekly plan. And don't get me into this Wednesday stuff. I figured out now, Wednesday's the night I got to go to bed early. I got to get a good night's sleep on Wednesday night. I get a nap on Thursday, and then away we go with the football weekend.
And then away we go.
Feel like I had my own little training camp yesterday.
That's true. As a fan now, we got to get our schedule, got to pick our spots. How many of you said goodbye to your family last night after dinner? How many of you looked at them and said, we have spent a lot of quality time together, and I hope you remember how much I love you. And now I'm not going to see much of you for the next 4.5 months. Maybe even 5 if I stretch it out. So I hope that's okay. Just remember, I'm here. Slide the notes under the door. Send me a text. So when they threw a 70-yard touchdown on the first play of the game, I'm asking this to everyone, not just Mark. So what was it you said out loud?
One word. Boom. Look at that.
You went John Madden?
I would have boom.
Well, Ace Hardware on us?
Yeah,
Did you?
I did. Because I love it that here we talk, you and I, and both teams wanted to run the football, obviously, but Gators throw a pass on their first play. If it's not for a procedure, they get a drive going. I mean, the procedure plays just killed the Gators. I mean, it was just a sloppy damn mess with that offensive line.
Woo! We tried to tell you, and I know we're morons. I get it. I know. Whatever we say, you go the other way. Yeah, I know. 4 new starters, brand new center.
And that was the key. The brand new center did not help things.
I mean, it takes an hour and a half. It really does. And not only this, Scott Strickland is not doing Billy Napier any favors. He's not. I mean, he started his season the last 2 years with a home and home with Utah. They've been ranked in the top 15 both times.
And they're men.
Yeah.
That's an old college football team.
And I mean, next year, his non-conference games are Florida State, Miami, and UCF. And oh, by the way, he'll play 8 SEC games just for the heck of it. I mean, that's their schedule next year. I mean, not sure that the AD, I mean, he paid the coach. He let him hire 173 guys on staff. A lot of golf shirts on that sideline, man. Whew. A lot of golf shirts. I mean, there's an extra team plane needed just to bring all the Gators. I mean, Alabama's looking at the Gators going, man, you got a lot of people on staff. But I mean, this is going to take a little while. And Mark, let me tell you, I don't know if you're reading the Twitch chat room. Okay. Rob. All right. I don't think Napier makes it to the cocktail party. Adam, we suck. All right. I mean, Johnny. All right. We're awful. It's unbelievable. Gator fans should start putting all that gear away. I mean, just guys, they played a top 15 team on the road. And then SEC me is all upset that there's somebody wearing a number 15. Don't get me started. I'm with you on that one.
David, I have a string of texts from a Gator fan. And the one thing about our texting system is that when people send multiple texts or a long text, it kind of puts them in a random order. So I have to kind of decipher it. It's a code basically to figure this out. But I'll get to the most important part that says, as a Gator fan, this is the most embarrassing performance from a Florida team in a long time. I'm ashamed to be a fan.
Wow. You do know you barely beat South Florida last year, right? A 1-11 team, and you beat them, late field goal. I mean, come on now. I mean, do we have to go through some of the losses here in the last 10 years? I mean, guys, See, the problem is you guys actually thought you were going to win. All right. And that was, and I blame Vegas. I do. I blame Vegas. They made the line too small. Miller and Moulton didn't understand why the line was so small. We didn't understand why the line went from 10 in June to 6.5, 7 before the news about the quarterback. We're like, what changed? What changed for 3.5 points to get knocked off this line? Utah's better. They're more experienced. They're better. I mean, Mark, I thought the line should have been 10. You find out Rising isn't playing at 6.5, 7. But 3.5, 4, 4.5. I mean, they actually thought, hey, we got a chance here. I don't know. Got to play a game you have on the road. I mean, we said it's been 5 years since you've gone on the road and won as an underdog.
And I know you're in the big bad SEC and you play at places like LSU and you play all these crowds, but the Utah crowd was, Herb Street said, hey, it's not the 90,000 that they see in the SEC, but this place is loud. Don't kid yourself. And the Gator offensive line, whether it was the noise, whether it was the first game jitters, whether it was miscommunication on plays, I think 8 or 9 procedure penalties.
Well, 9 penalties overall, and they were all...
I think 8 procedure and the 1 holding penalty on the punt that brought him back halfway. It was a yard penalty there.
Right. Do you think it's also the double number penalty that's got Gator fan?
Yeah.
They're so the 70-yard bomb on the first play, and we're kind of sort of settling down, and we're back. We're holding on. We're finding our way, and then we got the double number thing. And also, it's something you don't see every year, to be honest with you. I mean, in fact,
how many have you seen?
17 years doing the SEC on CBS. I've seen it 3 times.
Now think about that.
And usually it's on a special teams play because a guy will put on a jersey if he's on special teams and what have you. By the way, welcome to the broadcast booth. Just with double numbers. It's a college football thing, and there's about 8 of them on every roster. There are some schools that have triple numbers, and they're always the single digits too. 3, 6, something like that. It's like, hey, they got 3 6s. This should be pretty easy to tell them apart, right? They're all listed at 5'10", 182. But
I think that one's got him. That and the fact that Utah was in their backfield the entire game.
Not being able to block someone, it really honks a fan base off.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the fact that they got that number 3 into the game because he's a burner, and they're going to need players like that. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk more Gators, Utah, starting 5 in 25 minutes. Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn, Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So let me see if I can give you this guy's running stream of consciousness here. This is great.
Is this worthy of doing on the air, or?
It's hard because the way these texts come in, David, it's like there's 4, 8, there's 10 texts, but I'm sure he sent it as just a few of them, and it just comes in all jumbled. So it's hard.
Can you click on him and then doesn't it list his in a row if you click on him?
It doesn't. That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't list them in a row. It just you got to
Gotcha.
figure out. It cuts it off.
Gotcha.
But it's I love this one. How do you run a bubble screen on 4th and 14? There's a lot of common sense when it comes to football, but if it's 3rd or 4th and long, you don't throw it 10 yards behind the sticks. I may not be a Division I coach, but Napier is overthinking it. All right, now the liquor is worn off. I stand by everything I said.
Oh man, that's great.
Yes, you do get local affiliates, Ryro. You get all your local stations. Keep your eyes pieced on your mail, because I just got a coupon that I can't use now for like $50 off YouTube TV too.
So how many of you have Spectrum? Our buddy Jason McBain has Spectrum in Texas, and he goes, now he was able to, and I don't know if this worked for anybody. He watched the game on the ESPN app, even though his TV went dark, his app didn't, which is interesting. So he got the game. Okay, for some reason, a buddy of ours in Texas, it worked.
I couldn't find any of the multiple games. I could not find a multiple game channel. And I tried. I don't know if that's something I have to set up myself, but I was not able to do. And I was not very happy about it.
Because remember, he blew his family off for games.
But my Fire Sticks didn't arrive yet, so I've only got one TV with YouTube TV. So I had to run the HD antenna out the window for
So he's got a baton. All right. And he's leading the band, but he's waiting for his sticks. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. You got it. You know, all you Gator fans are upset. You're not that.
Oh.
My team might lose to Central Michigan tonight. So, I mean, you could have that.
Just remember, back-to-back 6 and 7 seasons. They're at.
I understand.
Yep. And us saying, wait till 2025 is not helping.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, the starting five in a little less than 20 minutes. Lee Sterling comes up at the top of the hour 40 minutes from now with his first picks. So you can place your first bets of the year, at least through Lee and ParamountSports.com. So did you, because I know you were ready, you were in your 3-point stance at 7 o'clock for, UCF and Kent State, and then, you'd already hit a few things and put a hole in the wall by 8 when the Gators kicked off against Utah. Now, you just changed, got rid of the DirecTV, you doing the YouTube thing because you want the Sunday ticket, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So, but there are still people out there, they got the cord. They've got a cable company, and one of them, Spectrum. Just like we had Mike Clay, the chief meteorologist of Spectrum's Bay News 9. Did you hear what happened with Spectrum cable customers last night?
Yeah, they cut ESPN right before college football started.
Now, they put up a slate, and by right before college football started, I mean like they're lining up for the kickoff. It's not like you tuned in at 7 or 7:30 and you couldn't get the pregame show. No. You pregame, and you got the food, and you got it there, and you probably even went to the little boys' room, and you came back, and you're ready. Got your hands on your knees. You're kind of half bent over. You're about ready to receive the kickoff, right? So, and then all of a sudden, this graphic appears. The Walt Disney Company, owner of this channel, has removed their programming from Spectrum, which creates hardship for our customers. We apologize for the inconvenience. We're continuing to negotiate in good faith in order to reach a fair agreement. Okay. And then they want you to go to Disney ESPN fairdeal.com and register your complaint. So, now there's a buddy of ours, Mark, Jason. He's in Texas now. And I think he's one of the few. He was able to still get the game using his ESPN app. Most everyone else that we've asked during the commercial break, at least in the Twitch chat room, all said, yeah, that didn't work for me. I tried the same thing. We were SOL. How about that for a little kick in the you-know-what?
Well, and I believe, David, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm quite positive that Spectrum is the main cable in the Orlando area.
Mm-hmm.
This just in. There are a couple of Gator fans that live in the greater Orlando area.
Yes, officially between 31 and 37. Yes.
Right.
And it lingers obviously into the Tampa Bay area, right. So I might have honked a few people off, is what I'm saying. How about that, by the way? People scurrying to their neighborhood sports bar, running in, huffing and puffing at 8:15, 8:20. All right. Don't know if they were able to find it on the radio. They look up, they go, "Well, that's 7-0. What the heck? How many plays did I miss?" You only had to miss one, dude. So that's another start to the season for Gator fan. Why there's so much angst. Some of them didn't even get to see the game, or at least the start of the game. This just in. I don't believe Disney pulled the plug at 7:50, 9:30, by the way. And Mark, if we were Spectrum, don't you have to run that game but announce throughout the entire game? Just so you know, we're running this game. We're kind of running it as a favor, and it's going to go away as soon as the game's over.
100%.
You know, don't hold it against us. Okay, we're actually doing you a solid here.
Right. This is Spectrum in the ESPN days putting Duke, North Carolina basketball at ESPN2 when no one had it.
Right. What ESPN? What channel is that? Is that a channel? Is that a real thing? Yeah, it really is. Stuart Scott's promoting it and everything. Yeah. Oberman, Colber, they're doing this thing called the Sports Smash. No, really, it's ESPN2. What are you talking about? Still one of the greatest lines in broadcast history. Keith Olbermann said, with Susie Colbert and Stuart Scott, I'm Keith Olbermann, and welcome to the beginning of the end of my career.
Outstanding.
So am I going to honk Gator fan off if I'm going to be glass half full guy today and point out?
You are.
Why? Why ignore the truth? The defense, which could not get off the field last year, may have been the worst Power 5 defense in the country on third down, held Utah to 3 of 13. After giving up the 70-yard bomb on the first play of the game, they gave up 200 yards of offense. 270 for the game. If I had told Gator fan, you're going to go to Utah, hold them to 3 of 13 on third down and 270 total yards, you would have been like, damn, seriously? Yeah. Now, you didn't force any turnovers, and goodness knows last year, outside of the interception against Utah in the end zone, you didn't force any turnovers. But, see, Mark, you know why? It's my theory. Certain fan bases, the Gator fans, they're about offense.
100%. And while it had moments with some drives, and that's, you know, they never seemed to be able to get Pearsall the ball at all.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the Wilson kid in, saw a little bit there, but they want an explosive offense. They're not going to get that with this team. That's not the style.
I mean, Pearsall did have 8 catches, and he had a 40-yarder early. And listen, come on now. Did you think Graham Mertz, did you see him in the spring game? He was horrible. Charles Barkley, horrible. Graham Mertz looked okay, considering he didn't have a whole lot of time to throw, considering he played from behind the whole game. He completed about 75% of his passes, threw for 333. The interception wasn't his fault. It wasn't a perfect pass, but it certainly shouldn't have ended up in a defender's hands. I mean, come on, dude, catch the ball. You're a scholarship receiver. It hit you in the hands. Don't let it hit your shoulder pads. Now, yeah, offensive line, work in progress, no doubt about it. Yeah, you got 2 weeks till Tennessee. 2 weeks tomorrow at home. They haven't beaten you there in 20 years. 2 weeks, a long time, man. Young team every week. You know how much better you get every week? You know how much better that offensive line's going to play in 2 weeks? Come on now. No? Anybody buying it?
I am.
Okay.
There were moments that it just clean up the penalties, for crying out loud.
Yeah. How many points did that cost you? The double number thing gave them 7. All right. You're in the red zone. You got the 3rd and 1 there. You commit or 4th and 1, and that cost you at least 3 points.
I will say Mertz has got to learn to get rid of the ball a little more. I mean, I know there were a lot of pressure, but I think it was the 3rd drive of the game, because they went 3 and out. The 3rd drive, when they got the field goal, they got down there. He takes a sack on 1st down. You can't do that. That ball's got to go. That ball's got to go out of play fast, because you can't put yourself in that type of hole in the red zone. That play I put on Mertz, even though the line didn't do it there, he can't take that sack there.
Now, there's no doubt they need to find some big plays in this offense. I think they had 4 offensive plays of 20 yards or more. They got to find some big plays. I mean, you're Florida. You got to have some dudes that can make some plays, right? So, okay, give it time. I mean, they got a warm-up game next week, right? They got a scrimmage.
Yes.
Gain a little confidence. They can make some things happen. Have 2 good weeks of practice. No? Man, I think it's the last 2 years. Back-to-back 6 and 7s. Gator fan is just a disaster right now.
Well, in every one of these games that a close point spread. It was 4 by the time 4.5 by the time kick happened. In fact, I think even got to 5. But if you're going to get to 7, you got to get some of these games. And when you lose the first one, they're edgy. Now they're looking at Tennessee and the road games at Kentucky and South Carolina going, oh boy, here we go again.
I think also, if you think about it, remember Mullen lost his last 3 games of the pandemic year. Then the 6-7, 6-7, now 0-1. You do the math, Mark. That's losing 18 of your last 30. I know.
Ouch.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I guess they have a college basketball Hall of Fame, and Tyler Hansbrough and Johnny Dawkins both went in. Obviously, one from Carolina, one from Duke. So Krzyzewski and Roy Williams were both there. And I guess Krzyzewski's telling a story, and he talks about after a game winding down and playing a little video poker. And the room kind of murmured, and he goes, "Yeah, I admit it. Okay, yeah, I did." And he looks over at Roy Williams and he goes, and Roy bets on golf. Okay. Yes, we do. And then he looks over at Roy and goes, now don't you deny it. Paul, it's an interesting question because I think it's why Gator fans are so down on Urban is because how he left them. Although, his last recruiting class was actually graded as the number 2 recruiting class in the country. His 2010 recruiting class was number 2 in the country. But so Mullen, who had the 2 top 10 seasons, and then his 3rd season, he beats Georgia and goes to the SEC title game. But he basically did a horrible job recruiting.
The Canes are on the ACC network tonight.
Miami of Ohio, baby.
ESPN showing Louisville and Georgia Tech.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? It is a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Yeah. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, paramountsports.com. He will join us for the first time making his picks. Place your bets coming up at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. At the top of the 8 o'clock hour, we'll make our picks and some season-long predictions as well coming up. But first, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Gators caught a break facing Utah's backup quarterback. You could argue even third-string quarterback, but he threw a 70-yard touchdown on the first play of the game. And, it wasn't a good night for Florida. They went 1 for 13 on third down. They committed 9 very costly penalties. Mertz did throw for 333 and a touchdown. He also had an interception, which wasn't his fault. Got sacked 5 times. 2 of the 9 penalties were huge. They were driving, probably were going to score a touchdown in the red zone, committed a procedure penalty. Then they'd gotten a stop, forced a punt, had 2 guys on the field, both wearing number 3. Penalty gave Utah first down. 3 plays later, they scored a touchdown. You added up Florida with a late 98-yard touchdown drive in the 4th, but they lost 24-11. So that's Utah, the points, and the under. There was a radio show yesterday who told you to bet Utah, lay the points, and take the under. I'll look up what that show was. UCF got 4 touchdowns from John Reese Plumlee, 3 of them passing, 1 rushing. They scored 14 points, Mark, in all 4 quarters, including a touchdown with under a minute to play. Can't imagine Kent State was real happy about that.
Stop them. I'm so over. Look at, I grew up in Big Ten country where you had to play nice when you had the lead. And then all of a sudden you'd play a Florida State. And they'd be up by 3-4 scores late, and they'd put their second and third stringers, and they'd keep running the same offense. You know why? Because those guys one day have to play too. Stop them.
Kent State couldn't, and UCF won 56-6 as their member of the Big 12. So, Mark, in recent years, Nebraska has pulled defeat from the jaws of victory. So they got rid of Scott Frost, and they brought in Matt Rule. And he was going to do 2 things. First off, they were going to stop having the self-inflicted wounds, like at the end of the first half, say, when you've got first and goal at the 4 and you come away with no points. And then with a 10-3 fourth quarter lead when you've dominated the whole second half, and maybe you give up 10 points in the final 2.5 minutes. Which is what Nebraska did last night and losing at Minnesota 13-10. Yep, it's another season, and it's same old Nebraska until proven otherwise. NC State beat UConn, but they didn't cover 24-14. There is a call this morning, Mark, amongst ACC presidents. Presidents and chancellors are having this Zoom meeting. And they are discussing whether or not to bring Cal, Stanford, and SMU into the conference. If you hear later today that there will be a vote, then they've got the votes. If the call doesn't lead to a vote, then they don't have the vote. There is an email that was released late yesterday claiming to be from the University of North Carolina and their president and how they feel. And if that email is authentic, North Carolina is still a no. NFL. League said they're not going to punish Tyreek Hill any further for that incident he had at the marina, which was caught on video, so Hill will play in the opener against the Chargers. Dolphins were able to sign their fullback, Alec Ingold, to a 3-year extension, making him the highest-paid fullback in the league. He's going to make nearly $6 million a year. And they got him under contract for 4 more years. The Vikings made tight end T.J. Hawkinson the highest-paid tight end in the league. A little over $17 million a year. 4-year deal. I'm sorry, that's Travis Kelce's agent on line 1.
Yeah,
Kelce's
saying
agent on
pay
line
me
2.
right blanking now.
Cooper Kupp re-aggravated his hamstring injury. They say he's day-to-day. Have you known anybody to be day-to-day with a hamstring?
I haven't, David.
Week to week, maybe?
Maybe.
The Patriots have a new backup quarterback.
Congratulations.
Matt Corral, former 3rd-round pick of Carolina. Carolina tried to have him on the practice squad. Patriots said, no, we're actually going to put him on our roster. So Bailey Zappi, he's going to stay on the practice squad for the Patriots. Man, I thought he was the future, right? Gil Brandt passed away yesterday morning at the age of 91. The Hall of Famer, the Cowboys Ring of Honor recipient, helped create, along with Tex Schramm and Tom Landry, well, the Dallas Cowboys, to be brutally honest. And he was the first guy in the NFL. The Chiefs and others in the AFL recruited the historically black colleges. Gil Brandt credited with being the first NFL guy to recruit the historically black colleges. Also, the Cowboys were the first. The Raiders then followed suit, in which the Cowboys signed athletes and said, we could kind of make you into a football player. You know, Chuck Howley, who just went into the Hall of Fame, he was a college wrestler. You know, Bullet Bob Hayes, of course, was an Olympic sprinting champion. So Gil Brandt, the genius behind much of that, he was 91. Baseball, Marlins with a much-needed win. They get back to 500. Jazz Chisholm with a 3-run homer. 6-1 Miami over Washington. They remain 3 back of the Giants, however, who scored 6 in the third and beat the Padres 7-2. Giants lead Arizona by a game for the 6th and final playoff spot in the National League. Anthony Volpe's a 2020 guy. That sounds good, doesn't it? 20 homers, 20 steals for a rookie shortstop. I mean, he's hitting about 212, but nobody cares about average anymore, Mark.
No, they don't, David.
It's all about launch.
What's your OPS?
Correct. Kyle Schwarber's hitting a $185. He's beloved in Philadelphia. 4-3 Tigers over the Yankees in 10. Gleyber Torres' error in the 10th won it for Detroit. And, boy, I hope these two teams meet in the LCS. Braves and Dodgers. 8-7 Atlanta. Mookie Betts hit 2 homers in the loss. You know, Ronald Acuna had a day yesterday. He got married in the morning. Hit a salami at night. He's got 30 homers and 60 steals. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
No one's ever done that before, David. He's a third. When you brought the 2020 up, it's a nice thing, but
Right.
I knew you were going to get to the 30-60 guy later in the update.
2020 is cute, right? Compared to 30-60?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rays are in Cleveland, and the Marlins continue their series with the Nats. Speaking of Cleveland, remember when the Angels put 5 guys on waivers? Yeah, the Guardians claimed 3 of them. They claimed all 3 pitchers. Lucas Giolito, Matt Moore, and Ronaldo Lopez. And the Reds claimed one of the 2 outfielders that got put on waivers, and Seattle claimed the other guy. All 5 guys got claimed. So at least the Angels don't have to pay the salaries anymore. They'll get under the tax. That'll make them feel better when they lose Ohtani, right? Reds, by the way, claimed both Hunter Renfroe from the Angels and Harrison Bader from the Yankees. Did you see how Bader found out he was placed on waivers?
He was having lunch with the team?
Yeah, in the clubhouse. Looked up on
ESPN and saw that he was, or MLB Network or whatever they had on, and saw that he was waived. And then asked, what does that mean?
Yeah, what's waivers? Dude, it means you're probably not going to be here much longer. I'd dive into that bologna and cheese if I were you. The White Sox promoted assistant GM Chris Getz to become their GM. Good luck with that. Not only is your roster a mess, but you got to deal with Jerry Reinsdorf. You sure you want this job? U.S. Open, a couple of longtime American tennis players saw their careers come to an end yesterday. John Isner lost in a 5th-set tiebreaker in singles. Then he and Jack Sock, who both announced when the U.S. Open's done, they're done. Well, they got eliminated in doubles, so they're both done. Andy Murray also eliminated in straight sets by the 19th seed Dimitrov. 6-1 in the third. I wonder if that'll be the last time we see Murray at the U.S. Open. The top seed Alcaraz won in straight sets. 3rd seed Medvedev a winner in 4. On the women's side, 2nd seed Sabalenka, 17th seed Madison Keys, 3rd seed Jessica Pegula, 5th seed Jabeur. They all advanced. Jabeur was the only one who needed 3 sets. Golf, men aren't doing anything. LPGA are in Portland. Corrine Delacar has a 1-shot lead at 9 under. American Gina Kim is 1 back. Nelly Cordes 2 back. Remember I was telling you about Lexi Thompson, who's somehow ranked 21st in the world, yet she's like 120th on the money list? Yeah, she's tied. And so she made the Solheim Cup team based on world ranking. Yeah, she's 9 shots back, tied for 87th, in line to miss yet another cut. But she's on the team, because just like Justin Thomas, because in the past, they used to be good. And that, Mark, at 12 minutes before the hour, was...
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
You know, David, I let something kind of slide in that starting 5.
Okay.
Harrison Bader getting picked up on waivers while he was having a bologna and cheese, apparently. And it does get me to ask you, David, when, because you most mornings are downing some sort of lunch meat. Usually ham, maybe the occasional turkey.
Correct.
When's the last time you had bologna?
It has been a while. And not only that, it's been a long time since I've seen bologna in a clubhouse spread. I mean, I saw it, in fact, probably early 90s in AA when I was in Binghamton is the last time I saw bologna in a clubhouse spread. But that's why I said it, Mark. It was to add to the humor. Like, you really think bologna is some of the lunch meat in Major League Baseball.
No. I'm just what I was wondering is, did you throw it in because you were at the deli counter, saw bologna, and said, you know what I'd like right now is I'd like some bologna.
You know what? Now that you've brought it up, the next time I'm in the deli line, I'm ordering bologna, and I may do it when I've got the most people around me so I can get the looks. And you know me, loudly and defiantly, I'll turn and look at all the ladies and go, that's right, I ordered bologna. And that's how I pronounce it, bologna. Even though there's no E.
Italian bologna, mortadella. Now that's divine.
Okay.
But I don't think I've had bologna since I was in about the second grade.
That was the only lunch meat we had growing up because we didn't have any money.
Trust me, there was a time in our lives that, Mom had a lot of bologna in the house. In fact, my mom used to make ground bologna, which is just,
wow.
Yeah.
That's
a couple of pickles. Take that ring bologna. Oh, delightful.
I think
really.
Got to go out
Thanks,
and play
Mom.
Got to go out and play the horses, make some more money in the house. Ground bologna. No way. No, I'm good. No, really, I'm good. So, yes, bologna. Thank you. Thanks for making sure you pointed that out. There were a few people in the Twitch chat room who were like, did he just go bologna?
Yes, he did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Lee Sterling, in about 10 minutes' time, he'll make his picks. We'll make ours, not just the Super 7, but, we'll throw some stuff out there.
What have you done, by the way? What have you done? You typed it this morning. I looked at it. We haven't had a Super 7 in 5 years. We made 5 picks since the second act. We went to a Fantastic 5. We haven't done a Super 7 since we were in this building, and that's years ago.
Well, Mark, you haven't done a Super 7. I do a Super 7 every week. I'm chasing money before I even start losing it. Because guess what? I've got 7.
That's a shocker.
Lee Sterling has 5, but he's giving you a free pick. Just a little something for the effort. By the way, is fried bologna outstanding? There are those in the Twitch chat room that are saying that it has merit. I've never fried the bologna. Isn't that called something else?
Yeah, fried bologna sandwich.
Well, I thought it was called something else. Maybe I'm thinking of frying something else.
I don't know.
Right. Now I'm hungry, though. We just talked to lunch meat for 3 minutes. Now I'm starving.
Well, we know what David's going to do during the break. Head to the kitchen. I wouldn't move if I were you, because Lee Sterling is coming up, and he has been giving away free money for years on this show.
Should we ask a poll question of Gator fan? Gator fan, how are you feeling after the season opening 24-11 loss to Utah?
I'm just curious what the choices will be, David.
Well, we get to choose them so we can clean them up. I love the text that you received in a series of texts, and the final one was, I've sobered up now, and I still stand behind everything that I text you.
28 different texts scorching the Gators from their performance last night. This just in, they had another procedure penalty. Miller and Moulton, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. He's next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Oh, we should be coming back to that. If it wasn't for Lee Sterling, I'd be making you play that coming back. We just did 2 minutes on baloney. It's called topical. It's what you do. You know, I know. Go back, take a nap.
I have no idea what, I mean, obviously I'm 23 years old. How old is that?
It's from 1973. It was a commercial that ran on television. I was telling, I played the baloney commercial, and then Felipe mocks me. And I was like, if we didn't have Lee coming, I'd be making you come back with it.
He's mocked the baloney commercial?
I just said, what the hell is that?
My baloney has a first name.
It's O-S-C-A-R.
O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. And I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, because Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
That's kind of...
And he didn't hear that. He can't hear that commercial when I play.
I know. And word for word, bar for bar.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's called the power of advertising.
Hey, it's a honey with an O with Honey Nut Cheerios.
Listen, you come up, the power of a jingle and the power of a good ad. Plus, Felipe, I was 8. Are you kidding me? And I'm eating bologna all the time.
With a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time, you know?
See? I had not heard of the General until those ads 10 years ago. Had not heard of that insurance at all.
Who did?
Well, no, but apparently the company has been around for 60 years. I literally had never heard of them.
Then you start seeing Shaq driving in a CGI convertible.
Totally. Like, what the heck's he doing? The General? What's he talking about? I'm not kidding, Felipe. The very first time Shaq was talking about the General, I like, does he mean the Colonel? Is he selling Kentucky Fried Chicken? What's he talking about?
See, commercials used to have that charm, though. Now they're very like raunchy.
Although I thought the Tostitos ad with Marino and
Oh yeah,
that was cool.
And then they go back to Brady at the end of it. I mean, I thought that was a good ad.
I thought the B-Dubs one was funny as well.
I don't remember seeing that. I was putting a daughter to bed. I might have missed that one.
is that Edelman? Brady's eating the chips
Yeah.
with. Okay.
Yes. Coming out of retirement, what are these guys? crazy?
Unretire? That's stupid. Come on, Lee.
He said he got the link, so I don't know what to tell you.
He hooks up too late.
It's left click, not right click, Lee.
I'm texting him because I hate this crap.
Well, yeah, he's got to hook up a minute or two sooner.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The play of the day coming up in roughly 25 minutes' time. Miller and Moulton to make their picks, not only for this week's games, but also for the season. Mark, he will just stick with the money, the smart money picks. Me, crazy stuff, Oregon State type picks in the Pac-12. I mean, nuts. That's what you got coming up to look for. Lee Sterling joins us, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Top of the morning to you, Lee. How are you? Yeah, I don't think this connection's working.
Not very well. We're going to have to call Lee.
Yeah, Lee, we're going to call you. So Lee's got his handful of games that he's going to go with, and he's got a freebie for you. He has got a freebie for you, the Ohio State-Indiana game. All right, we'll get Lee on the old-fashioned way, okay, in a moment when we give him a call.
We're good. How about now?
All right, now we've got him. I don't know what happened, but the connection's not very good, Lee.
No, Lee, we're going to call you. Okay, it's our show. We're going to determine how this works, and your internet's not working worth a darn this morning. So we'll give Lee, and Lee will join us at 7 o'clock every Friday with his weekly picks and his game of the week. He's been fairly money on over the years. And by over the years, we mean as long as Miller and Moulton have been doing this. We go back with Lee all the way to the USC Texas 2005 season. So Lee joins us now. Lee, how you been?
Good, except for this morning. I was here until about 10:30 last night working, and I had a fantasy draft, watching games. I come back this morning and tried to, log on, get ready with you guys. It was remember the dial-up days, the internet?
Yeah. We could do a little squeal in the background for you if it'd make you feel at home.
It was horrible. I haven't, sometimes you go away for like a vacation for a week and you come back and you expect, if you've got internet and TV, something. But this was last night. I was here 9-10 hours ago. It's crazy.
All right, Lee, let's get to the games.
Yep.
College is underway. Florida last night, an underwhelming performance, having the Gator fans all a little hot and bothered about the way they played last night. We'll get to some more of the Florida teams in a minute, but let's start with Michigan minus a Harbaugh against East Carolina. Do the Pirates have anything to cover the 36 number that Michigan's laying?
So I first looked at this game, and I'm like, wow. This is one of the first games that I did study both teams. This was back in June. And I'm like, wow, okay. East Carolina, 8-5. They went to a bowl. They waxed Coastal Carolina, who's decent, 53-29. Beat UCF 34-13. Beat BYU by a field goal. And they even played North Carolina State, which was number 13 at the time, to a tough game and lost 21-20. My eyes were like lighting up. Then I started studying this team and watching a couple of their games and realizing who they had left. They have 10 starters returning. That's it. And not very good. I mean, new quarterback, Holton Ahlers, who went to the NFL. I think he had to have gotten cut, or he's a third stringer. He looked terrible for Seattle. No arm. But good college quarterback. He's gone after starting for 4 years. Running back Keaton Mitchell, who had almost 1,500 yards, he's gone. Defense lost 9 of the top 13 tacklers. Now they're going to face Michigan, which likes to pound the ball. And their 3 linebackers for East Carolina go 200, 220, 225. They're going to get run over here. I think Michigan wins 49-7.
So lay the 36 with the Wolverines. All right. How about the Battle of the Carolinas? North Carolina, South Carolina. I hate the no respect card. I do think South Carolina is getting very little respect for how they finished last season, and we returned Spencer Rattler, and they're a 2.5-point dog against Mac Brown's Tar Heels.
So I normally take SEC teams when they play ACC teams probably 75, 80% of the time. But South Carolina lost 7 of 11 starters on defense. Their front 7 is not good. And lost their running back, Marshawn Lloyd. He went to USC. Both quarterbacks can spin the ball. I think Spencer Rattler is really talented, but they're probably equal as far as passing. But Drake May, he ran for almost 700 yards. Rattler, 46. May, only 7 interceptions. Rattler likes to try to, put it in tight windows. 12 interceptions here. I think South Carolina, which won 38-21 in the 2021 Mayo Bowl, I think they're going to be up against it early. I think they're going to have a pretty good offense, but defense, not so sure. Revenge here. North Carolina, 34-23.
Clemson and Duke, it's the Monday night game. Duke's got a pretty good quarterback. I mean, but Clemson, a lot of people, I've seen some people taking them to the playoff this year. They're the better team. Are they 13 better?
I don't know if you guys know this story, but they put an offer out, Texas A&M, to 2 kids, Cade Klubnik and Connor Wegman, the quarterback now at A&M. And Klubnik wanted to sit on it for a couple days. Wegman jumped at the chance, and by that time, they pulled the offer, and he ends up going to Clemson. I think he's really good. I think they're under the radar because they lost that bowl game to Tennessee. They were the better team, just turned the ball over. They were -2 in turnover ratio in that game. That's the main reason they lost. So Duke has one big weakness, cornerback. And I think new offensive coordinator Garrett Riley for Clemson going to exploit it. He's really good at developing receivers here. I don't normally lay double digits on the road, but I like Clemson here. I think they win and cover 34-13.
So leg the 13 with Clemson Monday night against Duke. All right, the Battle of the Miamis. You got the Canes, about a 16.5 or 17, depending on where you look. We'll go with 16.5-point favorite against Miami of Ohio tonight.
I think Miami's going to be a little bit different than last year. Last year, there was hype, people thinking because Mario showed up, even after they lost to Texas A&M, that they were going to get better and better. They got worse and worse. They were unwatchable towards the end of the year when they lost Tyler Van Dyke. He's probably not 100% with that thumb injury. I think they're going to run the ball a lot because Miami of Ohio, smallish defensive line. They have a 265-pound defensive tackle. Their defensive ends are in the 240 range here. I like the running backs from Miami, but laying close to 17 here. The defense for Miami of Ohio gets a lot of takeaways, +11 turnover ratio here. Got a couple transfer receivers from Louisiana Monroe and Notre Dame. Might be serviceable here. And Miami just not good. 6-10 against the spread as a home favorite last 16 games. I think Miami wins 31-20. Miami of Ohio covers.
So the Canes win, but take Miami of Ohio to cover. And finally, the big game of the week, LSU and Florida State, 2.5's the number. How do you see it, Lee?
What a game last year. Crazy. The game to be ended on a block extra point. You don't see that happen too often. But I like both quarterbacks. I like Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis a lot. I just think Jaden Davis, Daniels here, quarterback for LSU, a little bit better passer. He can get hot and hit like 9, 10, 11 in a row, a little more accurate, and a little bit better runner here. Both teams maybe a tad overrated, should be ranked probably between 11 and 15, not in the top 10. LSU, when they went into that game last year, Brian Kelly had no idea what he had. He was lost on the sidelines. Thought a couple in-game decisions he made might have cost him the game here. And Florida State, how lucky did they get? They faced 5 backup quarterbacks last year. You're not going to get that in a 13-game schedule too often. And last year, Florida State, people didn't realize they were for real until probably middle of the season. They were 5-7 the year before. They were the hunter. Now they're being hunted here. I like the over best. We're going to play 2 plays on this, over 56, and also like LSU 34-30.
I do think it's going to be a lot like an NFL game. I think the quarterbacks and the offenses in the second half are going to be close to unstoppable. I think last one with the ball wins. So you're giving out a bonus baby here in week 1, aren't you?
Yep. Have a game of the week, Ohio State, Indiana. Got a real strong feel on this game. Ohio State's laying 29.5 on the road. Do I roll with it, or do I take the underdog Hoosiers here? Maybe, get back their mojo a little bit, keep it close. You want to get the game for free, 800-400-9741. Check out the new website, celebrating our 30th year in business, starting this week. How many years have we been together? Got to be close to 20 now, right?
Yeah, we go back to at least 2005 because we had you on regularly. And you had Texas upsetting USC for the national title. So we go back to at least 05.
What year did you guys start?
We together in 06, but we were both on the station before that
Right.
we've started on.
It might have been 2002, 2003. We might be going on 20 years. But check out the new website. We're already 3-0 this year in college football. Nice to get off to a good start when you spend all that time. If you spend all that time in the summer studying all these teams, and then your opinions the first week are wrong, your head's spinning around. But 3-0 start. We had the first half of UCF last night, and anyone wants to come on board, 5 weeks, called September to Remember, just $3.97. Use coupon code SAVE100, or the season works out to less than $200 a month. Use coupon code SAVE300. And if you want to get a free pick on the homepage, scroll down where it says free pick sign up, put in your info. Tonight at 9:00, you'll get a free pick sent to you.
There you go.
Yeah. So ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741 to review. Michigan lay the points. North Carolina lay the 2.5 against the Gamecocks. Clemson Monday night lay the points. LSU Sunday night lay the 2.5. But take Miami of Ohio to cover against the Canes tonight because they are not a good home favorite. And by the way, his play of the week, which you need to call for, is Ohio State, Indiana with a 29 or 29.5 point spread. Lee, as always, thanks. We'll do it again every Friday at 7:00.
Let's hope my internet complies next week.
Thanks, Lee.
We'll squeal in the background for you next week. I promise. One of us will. I'll take one for the team. I'll do the AOL squeal.
Please don't. Please don't.
Does Felipe know of which we speak?
The
Okay. All right.
Apparently he does.
All right.
You've got mail.
And look at this.
Miller and Moulton. We'll get to our picks coming up in a little bit right here on the Florida Sports Network. Wow, you guys.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Heidi's dad, what app? What app were you listening on? As for E, it's not our studio. We just rent it. So Mark didn't clean it up. The people who work at the station did. Wes, here's where it goes back to. You never should have been playing for the 2001 National Championship. And so when you guys lost to Colorado by 4 touchdowns, and yet they somehow put you in as the second best team in the country, ahead of Colorado and Oregon, I think the football gods have been getting back at you ever since. First off, you had to play the 01 Canes, who were probably one of the 5 greatest teams of all time. Yeah, well, listen, unfortunately, everything having to do with that station right now sucks. Their signals suck. The app sucks. Wish
But
we
it's
had
better than the other station in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, it's the better of the two. The
Which
app
is-
might be better on the other one.
Yeah.
but I don't know.
The other being iHeart?
No.
No, the
Fun.
other being where we were for our second act. The app was great.
Hey, quick baseball thing. Did you say that there was an NLCS that would rate higher than Braves Dodgers?
No.
We didn't talk ratings at all. I just said, boy, I hope we see them in the LCS,
Yeah,
the Braves
I-
and the Dodgers, because it would be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you got the top 4 in the MVP voting are all going to be in that game
Yes. Yeah.
in the National League. I mean, it would be a fun series. Braves would probably win, but it would be fun.
I wish I saw last night's game, man. 8-7. Mookie hits 2 home runs. Acuna with a grand slam. First player with 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases in MLB history.
He's going to probably be 35-70.
It's insane. He's what, 25 years old?
Is he that old? No, I'm serious. I don't know if he's that old. I
You're
mean,
right. You could be right. Let's see. He's 25, yeah.
Is he? Wow.
Because his teammate Mike Harrison, he I guess was a Braves fan, and a video surfaced on Twitter of him in high school watching Acuna hit a home run in the 2018 NLDS or whatever, and him going crazy. I'm like, wow, Acuna's been in the league for that long. Damn.
You're never going to believe this, but I have 5 favorites, David.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I hate week 1. I used to have a such better gauge on week 1 than I do right now. I didn't really. Spectrum's the biggest cable in Tampa, too. That's Tampa and Orlando.
Yeah, and we said that because, yeah, there are no Gator fans along I-4. No. Nope. Yep.
My goodness.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kirwan will join us 40 minutes from now to talk all things NFL and look back at the life and career of Gil Brandt, who was a good friend of Pat's, colleague over at NFL Radio. Passed away yesterday, did the Hall of Famer at 91 years of age. Gators got the college football season off and running last night, even though UCF kicked off an hour earlier. But come on, we knew they were scrimmaging last night. Kent State and all. 5 touchdown favorites, and they won by 7 touchdowns. So for those of you in Tampa and Orlando, thanks to Spectrum Cable, you didn't see Utah throw a 70-yard touchdown on the first play of the game and beat the Gators 24-11. And it's probably a good thing because then you missed all the procedure penalties. Mark, did the Gators just commit another one during the break?
One more during the break, and in fact, I think 2 people came out with the same number on during the commercial break.
Well, they tried 2 guys on the field at the same time wearing number 3. What number did they come out with this time? By the way, you blame the players or the coaches?
The equipment managers.
Well, they got...
Because from the way I read it is he was supposed to change to 33, so somebody screwed up by not getting him a jersey on.
So it wasn't a case of he could wear number 3 when he's playing on either offense or defense, but he has to put, because there are times in which guys will play one side of the ball or the other wearing a certain number, but they will switch jerseys for special teams to prevent what just happened from happening.
I mean, Fowler said he was supposed to be wearing 33, not Wilson, the other 3.
No, that's a problem.
One less equipment manager, one less blue polo on the sidelines next week.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, honestly, where do you turn and point to as to, man, I got 104 guys in blue golf shirts here. I got to fire one of them. Where do I start? I mean, it only cost them a touchdown. It was no big deal. I mean, the way the offense was moving the ball and all. I mean, they had one drive that wasn't a 3 and out at that point of the game. I mean, it wasn't like it was a big touchdown to give up or anything. Just saying. 24-11 Utah. Gators will get a nice win next week. And listen, I think it's the game that dictates their season. I really do. Tennessee at home, week 3.
And you have been glass half full all morning.
Yes. Yeah, I want to accentuate the positives. The Gators have a lot to clean up. I mean, they were 6-7. They were not good. They haven't been good for a while. Remember, they lost their last 3 games under Mullen in 2020. They go 6-7, 6-7. And do some quick math here. That's 12-17 before last night. I mean, they're not a good program right now. Napier is repairing the roster from top to bottom. They're unbelievably young at so many spots. 4 new offensive linemen. An interior defense, which hadn't been tested yet. I thought they held up okay against the run against Utah. Held them to what? Like 110 yards rushing? That's pretty good. Gave up the 2 runs to the mobile quarterback. But, I mean, when they handed the ball off to the tailback, Florida's defense was good. Held them to 3 of 13 on third down. The Gators were the worst Power 5 team in the country on defense on third down last year.
And the continuity will come to the offensive line. It is one nice thing about the layup that you have next week. Now they've got a lot of practice time, and they can get ready for, McNeese State next week before Tennessee?
Yeah.
Go play your scrimmage.
Yeah.
Get the offensive line working better as a unit.
By the way, pressure on Tennessee. They're going to be favored by a touchdown. And they haven't won there in 20 years. Now, granted, they don't play in the Swamp every year, but they've played there 9 straight times and lost. And some of them have been gut-wrenching. Remember, 2-touchdown lead late, Will Grier? 2 touchdowns, final 5 minutes. Remember the tie game? We're headed to overtime till Felipe Franks shows a 63-yard touchdown on the final play of the game. I mean, that's the Vols are going to walk into the Swamp in 2 weeks, and that's a spooky place for them. I'm telling you, don't Gator fan, before you take your flag down, don't give up on them just yet. Now,
they wanted so badly, because a lot of people at work. I mean, I've even got my Michigan State shirt on today. A lot of people wear their colors to work on Friday.
Right.
And Gator fan thought, third string quarterback, I can wear them on Thursday and I can wear them on Friday because we're going to win. And I told you the Gators I were running into thought they were going to win.
I know. And you're a better person than I am. You kept it to yourself. You let them stay positive. I would have looked right at them and go, you're not winning.
I laugh. After a few questions as to why they thought they were going to win, I tried to bet them, David, is what I did.
So in other words, you said, listen, if you guys had kept your mouth shut, I was just going to let you have your little moment. But since you're starting to run your mouth, I'm going to have to take it away from you. Look at Felipe in his old school Marlin shirt. Look at him still keeping the faith. 500 heading into September. He's still keeping the faith. Good for you, young lad.
After a win, he's wearing the colors. Time now for our play of the day. What do you have for us, Felipe?
I really hate to go here after the conversation that you guys were having. The producer in me hates going here, but the UM fan in me doesn't hate going here because Utah on their first play of the season with a deep ball to Money Parks.
Play action in first down, and Barnes looking downfield, takes his shot, launches for Money Parks, who catches it in stride. What a start for Barnes in the offense. 70 yards on the opening play. That's how you build confidence with your teammates.
Bryson Barnes, 70-yard touchdown to Money Parks. Utah defeats Florida 24-11 in the season opener. How about those Utes?
He does know that Canes went 5-7 last year, right?
Oh, I do.
Didn't he play in a bowl game, right?
And I witnessed one of the worst losses in Canes history with my own 2 eyes. And I'll be there tonight, by the way, to witness Miami hopefully beat Miami of Ohio.
Well, Miami's going to win.
Hopefully.
Look at you.
I hope so.
Miami's going to win.
Sure hope so.
Did you think that when you got up at 4:30 this morning, or did that just come to you?
I rolled over at 4:30. I stayed up late enough that the alarm went off at 4:40 this morning. I went to alarm B after I caught the end of the Gator game last night and said, I'm gonna take those extra 20 minutes and use every one of them wisely.
See, and most people like Felipe. Okay, he's young, they still think he's impressionable, that sort of deal. But when you're going to rub it in Gators fans' face and then you say, and I'm doing it because I'm a Canes fan and I'm taking extra glee in this, you're going to get the reaction that you're getting on the text line of the Twitch chat room. I'm just letting you know. Okay, this is how one hurts one's popularity.
I know we do our show in the market that we do our show in, but
Yeah, Gator markets.
Right.
This one,
But
Tampa
up and
St.
down
Pete,
Ice Lake
yeah,
City,
Lake
up and
City.
down
Yeah,
I-75.
every single market that we're in, the Gators are the most popular team.
My Twitter handle is Felipe from Miami.
I understand. I'm just saying it's like the candidate. It's why candidates never like show their true colors as to the sports teams they like because they don't want to alienate the arch rivals. Although I have to admit, with my politicians, I like it when they go, "Hey, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a so-and-so fan." I actually respect that. I'm like, goodness knows you can't take a stance on healthcare, but I like the fact you can tell me who you root for in college football. Okay. I can respect that.
And you will lose votes because of it.
It may be, but you actually help cement mine. I can respect that.
Sorry.
No. It's just you haven't gotten a lot of negativity, and I'm just letting you know on the text line in the Twitch chat room, okay, you're going to get it. And so welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. That's all.
Considered rubbing it in.
Right. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in a half an hour, Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I get it's different in college and really just football in general, but what is the obsession with quarterbacks wanting to wear 15 at Florida? You'll never be Tim Tebow.
Portnoy did a pizza review yesterday, called it the worst pizza place in America.
Oh, I saw that. The Dragon Pizza one.
Dragon Pizza in Somerville, Massachusetts.
It looked awful.
He said,
mess. Hey, what's the best time zone to watch sports?
Mountain.
I agree. I think it's Mountain by a mile.
Because you still get home from work in time to watch the game at 6.
Right. It's getting started as you're getting home. And then your local game gets started at whatever, 9. Three back.
yeah, but you got to leapfrog 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Also, pick a win total. You got 28 games left, right? 67 and 67. I mean, you probably got to go a minimum of 18 and 10.
Yeah.
To get to 85.
God, 85 is.
Because if the Giants play 500 ball from here, don't they get 84? Aren't they 6 over?
Well, yeah, they're 3 games ahead of the Marlins. So
they're 6 over. So if the Giants play 500 ball, that's 84.
I think under 6. I think they're going to go 5 and 7, Chi-Town. I really do. I think they miss a bowl game.
Who are you talking about here?
He asked what over-under on 6 wins for Sparty. It's going to be really close.
Now, in defense of Portnoy, by the way, they hired like over 300 people during the time that he had sold Barstool. When he sold Barstool, they had 100 employees.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. This will be our final weekend without the NFL for a very long time, but fortunately, college football is underway. Yeah! And with that, well, it's time for Miller and Moulton to lose some money. That's right. It's a college football tradition.
I was awful last year. It's the worst year I've ever had doing this.
Coming off a year in which you were good. You're gun shy?
Oh,
it's a new year. You learn from your mistakes. Come on now.
I've got 5 favorites picked, so I didn't learn a damn thing.
Oh, Mark, that's not true. I've known you for 25 years. You've picked favorites every day I've known you, honestly. You've had years in which you've been beyond money. Honestly, you had a year picking against the spread that 2-3 years ago, you were like 63%. Honestly, you should have been on network television. You were so good. You've been picking the same damn teams and the same spreads the whole 25 years I've known you. Okay? So don't change now, my friend.
They're written down. They're here. I wrote them down this morning. I made one. I crossed out one because it went against my philosophy for this week's picks.
You have a philosophy?
Yes.
Okay.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah. All right. You got a point.
I'm taking quarterbacks, and I'm taking good quarterbacks.
Okay. Since I called the segment a Super 7, apparently we did that in our first act. We're in our third act.
Super 7 in a good 10 years, at least 8.
Like I told you, it's this whole getting up at the hour that we have to get up at, you know. I mean, I couldn't remember Devin White for the Tampa Bay Bucks yesterday. Now, apparently, I'm trying to do a segment that we did back in 2014. I mean, it's by the end of the week, doing mornings. I'm telling you, I'm a little delirious. So, all right. So you say we don't do 7, huh?
Well, I'm doing 5. That's what I wrote down.
I'm doing a super 7.
There's the shocker.
Listen, why don't you go first?
Sounds like a plan. All right. I have 4 quarterbacks and then my other theory of the year, David. That's something, if it works for me, I may be riding this hard.
Ooh.
But I'm taking Washington. Penix, the quarterback, is going to be a Heisman candidate. They're laying 14 against Boise. Give me the Huskies. Texas, another solid quarterback in yours. Give me Texas, although I'm a little worried about this game because Rice has JT Daniels is their quarterback, the former Georgia kid that went to West Virginia, transferred all over. Texas is laying a monster number, but I think the Longhorns are good. You know that, David. Laying 35.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. I think LSU is going to beat Florida State. I've thought it since June. It's only 2 points. It's basically a pick 'em. I'm taking LSU, laying the small number.
All right, is it 2 or 2.5?
I've got
Sterling.
2.
Okay, well, I had it as 2 as well. With Lee Sterling, you said 2.5. How about we make it 2?
That's what I have it as.
Yeah,
so
that's what I have it as well. Okay.
And I'm taking Clemson against Duke, laying the 12.5. Both good quarterbacks. Duke actually has a pretty good quarterback in this game, and that was what I mentioned in the lead. They've got Phil Steele has him as the 3rd team ACC quarterback to start the season, but the Clemson quarterback, well, he's just better. They're better. Clemson's going to be in the playoff.
Ooh.
Give me Clemson and lay the 12.5. And the other game I'm taking, I can't believe I'm doing this, David. This is putting good money on a bad football team. But I have a theory this year. I am betting against Northwestern every damn week.
Look at you.
Give me Rutgers at home, laying 6.5 against what will be the worst Power 5 team all year long, Northwestern.
Wow. That's Sunday high noon on CBS. Northwestern and Rutgers could set college football back 2 generations.
Minnesota and Northwestern or Nebraska did last night. Don't worry. Big Ten's been doing that for decades, David.
You are laying 6.5 on Rutgers. And I'm from Jersey. I love Rutgers. Okay. I look for opportunities to bet Rutgers.
They're playing Northwestern. When are you going to get a better opportunity than that? And I'm being serious.
Mark, they're favored in college football. Is Rutgers as a favorite. Okay. All right. Look at you. So we're going with 12.5 as the number, Clemson Duke, because I got 13.
I had it at 12.5. You want to play it at 13? That's fine.
All right. Well, because I'm playing the game.
Okay.
And Lee Sterling played the game. He played it at 13. I'm going to play it at 13. So you're playing it at 13. Well, I'm going with 7 because apparently I break the rules. Mark, how about this? You're betting against Northwestern every week. I may bet against Dion every week.
I had it written down. And I chickened out.
And I love Dion. This is not a personal thing at all. I want Dion to be successful. I really do. I just don't think they're going to be successful this year. 84 new players. 84 new players. Now, granted,
TCU literally said they're not watching tape. They didn't watch an ounce of Colorado tape because there's no reason to watch any Colorado tape from last year.
So now they've got a couple of really good players. His kid's the quarterback. They got a legit NFL wide receiver, 1st-round pick. But at the line of scrimmage, I don't think they're going to be any good. Now, they were 1-11 last year, so replacing 84 guys, you could argue it, but really 84 new players? You think they're going to be decent this weekend? They're playing TCU, and I know TCU lost 7 guys to the NFL draft, but come on now. It's 20.5. I think they're going to win by 3 touchdowns. How about Colorado, Nebraska, week 2, huh? In Colorado. I'm laying the 29 with Ohio State. I think they may get off to a slow start. I might bet Indiana in the first half, if I wanted to really try to middle this one. But I think ultimately the two quarterbacks will play for Ohio State. They are so much better than Indiana. Indiana might have the worst roster in the Big Ten, and Ohio State might have the best. Now they have the toughest schedule of the Big Three in the Big Ten, but they might have the best roster. I'm laying the 29. Penn State, West Virginia. It sounds great. It's awesome that these two schools are playing each other. This is not a good West Virginia team. This is a very good Penn State team. Penn State's at home, laying less than 3 touchdowns. I'm laying the 20.5 with the Nittany Lions. I am going head-to-head with Lee Sterling a couple times. Everybody's taking North Carolina against South Carolina. I'm taking the Gamecocks. They got no respect last year. They're getting no respect this year. Spencer Rattler and company in a showdown with May. Tell you what, these could be 2 first-round picks at quarterback playing in this game. You might want to check this game out if you're just a football fan. These guys can play a little bit. And I switched my pick. Like Mark, I was thinking LSU was going to be Florida State. Why? Because you get 2 good teams to play a home and home. Very rarely does one team go 2-0 against the other. But every time Brian Kelly steps to the microphone, there's another key LSU player who's not playing. Their best defensive lineman's not playing. Their key running back's not playing. Meanwhile, Florida State, everybody's playing. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's playing. And they got real difference makers. They have a defensive lineman that LSU can't block, even though they returned 5 starters. They have a wide receiver that I don't think LSU can cover. And Florida State's quarterback is every bit as good as LSU's quarterback. Give me Florida State and the 2. I'm taking Clemson laying the 13 against Duke. I just, Duke may score some points, but Clemson will win by 2 touchdowns, and that's all they need to do. And tonight, Hawaii.
Almost took that one.
It's going to be a really bad day for Stanford. They're not going to get into the ACC by lunch. And then at night, they're on the island. They're playing Hawaii. Very emotional game with everything that's gone on in Hawaii. And I got the Rainbows getting 3. Remember, Hawaii played last week. And they played Vandy tough on the road. Lost a 1-score game. Stanford, it's their opener. Every coach will tell you, no team improves more than from week 1 to week 2. Hawaii's got that advantage. They're at home. They're getting 3. My upset special, give me the Rainbows tonight over the Cardinal.
I hope you do well, David, because literally I looked at 4 games that you picked and didn't pick them.
And when I lose them all, you'll go, and David, that's why I didn't pick them. See?
No. I like TCU. I liked Ohio State. I liked Penn State, and I liked Hawaii. I did.
And for those wondering, yes, we think Northwestern's going to have a very rough year. I think Northwestern as a program is about to become the worst Power 5 program in the country. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. This is going to take a little while. But this thing's going to linger. This whole lawsuit, people getting fired, or whatever, this is going to last 2-3 years. I mean, Stanford and Cal are already losing recruits because of their situation. You don't think Northwestern's going to lose recruits because of their situation? The AD's not going to last. I don't even know if the president's going to last. We sure this interim head coach is going to be the guy that they keep? I mean, that's their best shot. The entire staff's going to be replaced because this was Fitzgerald's staff. This guy inherited it. I mean,
and they all still want Fitzgerald there. They started the, cats against the world thing and put Fitzgerald's number on. There's a lot of turmoil in this program.
So
their best player transferred.
So Mark's betting against Northwestern and I'm betting against Colorado. Till they show me there are 84 new players. I mean, when you go 1-11, you can make the case, but come on. Nobody on that team could play? Nobody? Huh. So
Colorado has the best quarterback in that game.
No, they do. They do. I don't know if he's going to be upright. I don't know if they'll be able to block TCU. So Fox, by the way, hyping them out of that game.
Oh, yeah.
They are all over the primetime train, man. Have we ever watched college football because of the coach? I mean, how many cutaways can you show? I mean, what, about 100?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You work for CBS, and you're asking me how many coach cutaways can we show?
Well, you get figure now. By the way,
611.
well, let's see. Last night's Florida-Utah game had about 120 plays. Speaking of which, anybody notice the difference last night? Did you notice it? Did you like it? Did you not notice it? Utah didn't run 55 plays last night. That's very Army-Navy-esque. I mean, that was a much shorter game.
A lot more like Sunday than Saturdays have been.
Yeah. So, and I do find this interesting. I've seen a lot of people go, you know what? The games had gotten too long, so something had to be done. But I'm not sure that I like this. I feel like I'm missing too much football. Now, I'm fine with it. The games were entirely too long. I have no problem doing this. But remember how initially, Mark, the reaction to the baseball changes was outstanding. The reaction to college football is more negative than positive. First off, because there was a debate in college football amongst fans as to whether or not the games had gotten too long. You know, college fans different than pro fan.
And the in-game fan never seemed to care. They like
Right.
being there for 4 hours. They like the experience. It's a day. Whereas those of us that are taking the game on television and you're missing the first quarter of the game you want to watch because the noon game has run until 4 o'clock.
And even if you thought that the college football games had gotten too long, this is using the NFL clock. And that cuts 8 to 12 plays off of each team. You know, that's a lot of missed action. And the college fan, the early, people on social media and what have you are like, even those that thought there needed to be change were wondering, is this a little too radical? I don't know where the middle ground is, Mark, if you want to change this. Do you, instead of last 2 minutes, do you do the last 5 of each half?
I'm fine with it the way that it is.
I am too. But last night, you got 118 plays between Florida and Utah. Last year, you would have gotten over 140. You lost 15 to 20% of the action with the new clock.
And we'll see how that, from a betting standpoint, I'm just curious how that's going to, it made me a little worried about taking a lot of favorites because there's not as many plays. There's not as many opportunities to score for good teams. So I do wonder how this will work with Vegas as well, David.
And will it affect over-unders? Less plays, less scoring. Is under the play early in the season? Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan is our play, and he's next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, Mark.
Good morning, Pat.
I always have to test to make sure you can hear me.
Yes, I can. And very sorry about Gil.
Oh, yeah. It was going on for a few months. And
yep.
We tried to do everything we could yesterday to honor the guy. Sure, it'll carry over again into today. But
yeah, and we'll do probably most of that the first segment. Really, that's where I know David wants to go. I know it's where I want to go, and have you tell some stories and let educate some people and things like that.
Good.
But I saw it yesterday, and I thought about you, and you were. By the time I saw it, you were in your show. So I don't usually text you when you're on the air.
It's always a good time to text me, though.
I know I'll get an answer during a break.
Yeah. Feel comfortable texting me during the show, please.
So I'll probably ask this out there, but do you watch college football this weekend?
Try not to. I really got to get ready for the NFL season. Will I watch? Yeah, but my version of watching is not sit and study it like I want to. I just, go in the room and plop down. But if I want to get up and go out and do something else, I will. It's funny. I heard you guys talking about 55 plays, and the NFL basically averages a little over 60 plays a game, and they can get the thing done in 3 hours.
Right.
I'm sorry. What's your main number?
Yeah.
Every time.
He's got a whole fiasco going on. He's redoing his condo. So they've rented an Airbnb for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it's going to take to redo his whole place. His daughter's getting married this weekend, so he's got family flying in today. He is a mess.
Oh, I didn't know any of this. Here we go.
Pat.
Yes.
Other than the whole rule change where now the clock doesn't stop on first downs in college football, why else are the games longer in college football than
halftime alone is
halftime?
Right, it's halftime, yeah. But is it also due to the fact that it's just worse football?
No, it's the rules in halftime. It's the rules in halftime. NFL is 12 minutes for the half?
Yeah, as soon as they cross the line into the tunnel, the clock starts.
And that's the other thing. As soon as they cross the line in the tunnel, the clock starts. You go to a college game, sometimes it starts, sometimes it stops for a couple of minutes. They had 2 bands to get out there.
Yeah, that's to me their whole problem. But they have a lot of reasons to do it.
An NFL game is a lot more organized than a college football game.
I don't
or just like come on, like let's go.
I don't know if it's more organized. It's a different style. I mean, the clock stopped when you went out of bounds. The clock then restarted. I mean, there's just a couple of rules that are different.
And they are truly committed to 3 hours. Now they'll spill over to 3:03, and they don't like it. But I'm telling you, they are Look, I'm at CBS in the studio. They do not want more than 3-hour games, and there's a lot of pressure from the networks to the league to keep pushing to make sure it's 3 hours.
And the only thing on better football is that probably there's a handful of more completed passes on Sunday than Saturday. The completion percentage is a little bit higher on Sunday than Saturday.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
It's the damn band.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour is 1 hour away in the 239. Thanks so much for being with us on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And who better to talk football with any day of the week than Pat Kirwan? He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. They've got the Super Bowl this year. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, a dozen locations from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, good morning. Our condolences on your friend and colleague, Gil Brandt. You have spoken eloquently about him in the past. We know yesterday was a tough one for you.
No, it was, but we saw it coming for a while. And, the guy was spectacular as a human being to me. He was hard on me at times, definitely very competitive with me all the time. And he opened my eyes to a lot of things around me that were important to know to sustain a career in what I'm trying to do. So I miss him. But that guy I could make you laugh for hours about some of the things he would say and do. But we had a great group yesterday. Hollywood Henderson was terrific talking about Gil. He said he was out of Dallas 4.5 years when he finally went to prison. And he wrote Gil a letter and said, I'm in this thing. I'm going to be here for at least 28 months. I'd love to have a football just to throw around the yard with the guys. And Gil sent him like a dozen brand new footballs. And he goes, footballs were flying in the air for the whole time I was in there, all because of Gil. And he did a lot of things. I said before, there were a guy, I won't mention his name, not to embarrass him, but he was inducted into the Hall of Fame and did not have the money for a reception and party. And Gil took care of that. So he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes for people, me included.
And obviously the football side of it, as David mentioned, we don't have the Cowboys the way the Cowboys are without Gil Brandt, Pat.
Yeah, I nominated Gil for the Hall of Fame twice before he ever got in. And I realized after the second one, because his credentials were impeccable and they were so unique. He wasn't up against anybody that was from the personnel side that was as innovative as he was. So I just couldn't understand why they couldn't recognize it. Finally, I realized it must be me because I'm not able to present him properly and I'm not in that room to fight for him. And when it got turned over to some others, he quickly got in. So he was, Ronnie Hill was on yesterday too. Ron was a young scout for him. Ron went on to be a GM and everything else and spent most of his career with Dan Reeves, who was really an extension of Gil himself. And my boss at the time, Dick Steinberg, was trained by Gil as well. So the Gil factor is all over the league. And college presidents, I know you guys were talking about college football. College presidents and college ADs used to be involved with Gil all the time when it came to hiring coaches. They would call Gil. And Gil had plenty of thoughts about who should be the right kind of guy for head coaching jobs. So he was very powerful in a lot of ways. I had Roger Goodell on yesterday, and I had just texted Roger and said, "We're doing this tribute," and he said, "Get me in, and this is when I'll be home." So, but he talked about being the intern for Gil. He was an intern for the Cowboys under Gil Brandt, and had to do a lot of the grunt work around the building, and while Gil was teaching him how football works. So, a lot of people have been touched by Gil.
You know what I thought of yesterday when I heard the news and I heard that he was 91. And so I just started doing the math. He got let go after the 88 season when Jerry and Jimmy came in. And I thought to myself, well, how come no one else picked him up? He was still in his mid 50s.
You know, it's a good question. I think he always thought of himself as a Cowboy. He definitely had opportunities. I would think that one of his closest friends was Al Davis. So when Ron Wolf left and came to us, I thought that was the perfect and I had talked to Gil about that. And he was offered opportunities, but he liked the world he got himself involved in. He and I were working for NFL.com, both of us writing a lot of articles, both of us doing stand-up TV stuff, me more TV than him. Then we went to Sirius. And so I spent 25 years with the guy, and he had a lot of stuff going on. And he was dealing with a lot of different places. And I think he liked the broad action. And I think he loved getting guys GM jobs. Chris Ballard talked about it yesterday, that he was just mentored by Gil, and Gil, once Gil thought he was GM worthy, he put him on the fast track to get one.
You know, that's pretty remarkable when you think about someone as a man right there who's more invested in getting others jobs and getting one for himself. It obviously speaks a lot of who the guy was. And, you know, you always talk about the draft and his being able to recall players and their likes and dislikes outside of football, which just amazes me.
He had in his garage basically every scouting report on every player from the day he got into the NFL. And he had total recall of it. I was telling the story yesterday about Chip Myers. Chip played pro football maybe in the 70s. And he was on just before he passed away. We were talking. He had just gotten his first coordinator's job. And he was talking. I said, do you remember what you ran in the 40? He said, I ran 4.6. Gil calls me on the break and says, Pat, Chip ran 4.7. But he did pole vault 11 feet with a steel pole. He goes, that's what we like most about Chip Myers. So that's the kind of stuff that he had on everything. And he also knew the best restaurant in every one of your hometowns.
Gil also, because it was Tex Schramm, it was Tom Landry, it was Gil Brandt. I heard an interview with Ernie Accorsi in which he said, you know, I still would love to know who was the ultimate decision maker of the three. He suspects it was Landry who had the final call, that Tex kind of organized things, and that Gil did all the dirty work with the personnel. But that, you know, they were the first. There were AFL teams that recruited and went after the historically black college players. But the Cowboys were really the first NFL team, but they were definitely, Pat, the first NFL team to start taking chances on athletes who hadn't played football and they thought they could teach them.
There's no doubt. I think they had Gil, and I think you're right about how Tom was the final say. And Ron talked about that yesterday, being in the draft room, sitting across from Tom Landry and Gil. And he said, I asked him, because I know how Gil thinks, and I know how, because of that, I knew how Tom Landry thought. And you cannot get a guy past those two that didn't have the traits they were looking for, which will lead me back to these non-football guys in a second. And Ron said, I said to Ron, I said, did you ever try to push a guy with bad traits? And he goes, yeah. And I kept bringing this one guy up. And finally, Coach Landry looked at me and said, he doesn't have the traits for what we look for. And if we let him in on this roster, we'll have a team full of guys with bad traits. And Ron said, okay, I'll never bring his name up again. But that's how Gil thought, even in the most recent draft I did with him. He would throw a red flag up if a guy did not have the traits. Who else was talking about the length of your arms for left tackles 30 years ago? He thought about all that stuff, and he had the historical data to back up his, because he knew what it was. He knew it was a crapshoot. He was trying to increase his odds of success. Now, on to the guys who never played football. He had more guys play in the National Football League that never played college football than the rest of the league combined. And he saw things and traits of players Ron told a story yesterday about Cornell Green. He said he was sitting talking to the AD and at a basketball game, and he said, "Who's the best football player at your school?" And he points down to the basketball court and says, "Cornell Green," but he doesn't play football. Boom, he's a Cowboy. Because Gil goes in and works him out, and he passes all the trait tests. And you better be able to pass them. We never really talked about Bryce Young. It just didn't work out with the way his health was. But I'd be interested to hear the way he wouldn't see the traits there. He also, the last thing I'll say, I'm boring you guys with this, he knew the traits of what a head coach should be. And I won't mention the positions, but there were a couple guys as assistant coaches, if the position they coached did not correlate to success as a head coach, and he'd say, "Can't be hiring that guy. That position group has never created a successful head coach." So he had put everybody in these categories, and he was just playing the percentage games.
Talking with Pat Kirwan, brought to you by Pinterest. Pinterest, where you can't fake fresh. And talking Gil Brandt, who passed yesterday at the age of 91, colleague of Pat for many years. Is there any one attribute that you think still is applied to the draft that results completely from him? I mean, you talked about the traits, but is there one thing he'll be remembered by more than any other?
Yeah, I think the computerization of scouting, and so far ahead of his time on that. It's been documented by a lot of people, but his scouting system has been mimicked by everyone that's gone through the Gil Brandt world. They don't leave Gil and invent the new system. They leave Gil and try to replicate that system wherever they go because it has had so much success. I mean, in a lot of ways, I was an extension of it because of Dick Steinberg, and he was a Gil Brandt guy. So when Gil and I first met, it was like when coaches know the West Coast offense, they talk in West Coast terms. When I met Gil, we immediately could talk in the grading system and everything else, which was a tremendous advantage for me to get going with a relationship with him.
Pat, we have less than a minute. You never beat him at your draft game, did you?
No, and that was funny. Every year, right before the draft, I had to hand him a piece of paper with my top 100 draft picks, and he handed me his. And then we graded each other during the draft, and I never beat him. But one year, and he'd always get like 95 out of 100, and I'd get 88 or 89, and once in a while I'd get 91 or 92. One year I get 95. And I know I had 95 because I kept a copy of mine with me. So I'm grading mine. He gets a 96 and he turns around and says to me, he goes, "You're getting better at this."
Gil Brandt, Hall of Famer. He's in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. And he helped create NFL radio nearly 20 years ago, along with the colleague that we're lucky enough to call a friend, Pat Kirwan, who joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. More with Pat on the other side. We'll talk about the NFL 6 days away from the season getting underway and some crazy roster alignments going on.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. That was funny. That was a commercial. I thought that was actually someone in the background doing that.
How's life treating you, David?
Today, awful. Absolutely awful. Air conditioning unit is completely shut down and not working. It's no big deal. It's only 2 months old and costs $11,000. And it's the fourth time in 3 weeks I've had to call the air people out here. And we're moving today because we're moving into an Airbnb for the next 4 to 6 weeks so that we can have a complete renovation done of the condo. And my daughter's getting married Sunday. So I got what little family I have in the world. They're all flying in today. And I have to watch my 83-year-old mother-in-law because my wife's working all day. So how you doing?
I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah. So life sucks today. Today, life sucks. Life was going, I thought, Pat, swimmingly until about 2 hours ago. I got to be honest.
Well, this in a sense is because I think the last time you told me this story, I couldn't stop laughing. Are you prepared for another one of those toasts?
No.
That will warn the family of your predicted future.
So for those that don't know, my daughter got married a little over 5 years ago. He left her after 2 years of marriage. It's great. I mean, no big deal. It was only about 25, 30 grand. And we all knew it wasn't going to work. We didn't think it would not work this way, though. And so I just thought he was too young, immature, wasn't going to work. Nice enough kid, at least I thought. And so his family's all excited, and they're paying for the rehearsal dinner, and they are Cajuns, and they are partying, and there's 100 of them, and they're going to town, and we're just hanging out. And the father-in-law turns to me and says, hey, do a toast, because he did one of those 8-minute long embarrassing toasts, and he hands the mic to me, and I go, no. And so finally I grab the mic and I just say, listen, it'll be great to welcome him into the family. He'll make a great first husband. And the room lost it. They thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I looked at my wife and we looked at each other like, over unders 5.5. I mean, that's where we were.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, what do you start? What's the intro this time? Welcome to the second half.
No, I can't. I've been told I'm not allowed to make any references to the first one. Nothing. So I'm sitting it out.
Okay.
So at my second wedding, I asked my buddy to do a toast, and I didn't know at the time that he had all kinds of business going on. He's a player. Got lots of money, and his world was crazy. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So he came up with a limerick, and the stuff that was on the cutting room floor was really funny. But the one line he said, was the first one a mistake? Hell no. That's how we got Jake, my son.
Hey, you guys, I think I might sit out if I had to do it a second time. Oh boy. But you got a lot going on, David. That's not good.
By the way,
and the season starts next week.
Yeah. Did you just see? Did the ACC just vote to accept Stanford, Cal, and SMU?
Huh? At 8 a.m?
I just got something from Bleacher Report. ACC inviting 3 new teams. Officials vote to invite Stanford, Cal, SMU.
Yes.
The Pac-12.
Well, that's officially dead now. because they were going to try to resuscitate it if Stanford and Cal were not accepted.
Well,
So
Cal's a public school, and
Mhm.
didn't UCLA run into the same problem, being sued by the state education
well,
department?
yeah, but at the end, the state backed down because they weren't going to win in court. They just made them commit more resources to the athletes.
Yeah. Well,
You do know Stanford's endowment's $39 billion.
right. I didn't mention them on purpose.
Right. 39 billion. Okay.
Cal is a different story.
Yeah. Stanford has basically said, we can cover this whole athletic department thing for a while. We're good.
Yeah.
SMU is the same way. Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan will be spent talking about the NFL, but we do have to let you know that during the break, the ACC voted to accept Stanford, Cal, and SMU as 3 new members, bringing the conference to 18 schools, at least for football, or no, 18 schools for all the other sports except football. But Notre Dame will still play 5 games a year against ACC teams. So Stanford, Cal, SMU to the ACC. That will officially end the Pac-12, as Oregon State and Washington State will either go Mountain West or AAC. Pat Kirwan rejoins us, courtesy of Pinchers. Hey, can you help us out with some of this roster alignment right now? I know we got 6 days till Lions and Chiefs, and we got 9 days until most everybody else is playing. But, I mean, the Lions have 2 running backs. The Panthers have 5 tight ends. I mean, I don't know. It seems a little crazy. The Colts had 3 wide receivers for a couple days. This seems kind of nuts.
It is, but they needed to. It's really manipulating the rules to get the right guys on IR that can come back from IR. And so they were keeping guys. And as soon as they got to the 53 and they documented they were 53, then they could put them in IR and recall guys. So the veteran players were being told, hey, we're going to let you go. We'll bring you back tomorrow. And those veteran players that didn't have to go through waivers could sit there on their hands and basically just wait to they knew they were coming back. So that was just roster manipulation that way. The ones that you had to put on waivers, you had to hold your breath, like Bailey Zappi and guys like that. You thought, well, you just hope they didn't get claimed by someone. But so that's part of what goes on and why it's upside down in a lot of ways. And there were a couple teams with no kicker. We talked about that on Tuesday, and on their opening roster, no kicker. And I don't think that was a bad idea. A lot of these kickers are just about the same. They miss a lot. So that's really what was going on with it. But definitely with the veterans, they were going, hey, you'll be back in 24 hours. Just relax.
Any other procedural things that you found to be quirky? I mean, the whole New England thing with 1 quarterback seemed odd to us, Pat.
It did to me too. Again, though, if you think about how they were going to, both of their guys that they had were going to go through waivers, which, I wonder what they were going to do if they were claimed, and where were they going to turn? Now, there's plenty of quarterbacks on the market. I just keep my little ready list, and there's lots of guys. If they had to fall back and pick up somebody else. But for now, I try to remind everybody, just because they put you on the practice squad, Bailey Zappi, you're technically a free agent. I could call Bailey Zappi without ever talking to Coach Belichick and say, here's a contract for you. And he could leave and just not show up the next day. Hey, where's Zappi? Oh, he signed with the Panthers, something like that. So not that it always works that way, but technically and legally you can do that. So look, I said this before, there's 512 guys on practice squads and 192 of them are veterans. Those are the guys pro personnel people are managing and monitoring at all times. So they have an emergency list of how to get their rosters, fulfilled every time there's injuries.
Let's just clean this up once and for all. Let's just say Mark's on the practice squad and I claim him. Does Mark have to let you know, Pat, he's on your team? Does he have to say, hey, listen, the Panthers just claimed me, and give you the option? Because in theory, couldn't you then promote him to your 53 and keep him?
Yes. Well, it's not really a claim, David. Claiming means you're on
Waivers, right?
Waivers. So when you're on the practice squad, you've already cleared waivers.
Correct.
You go to the practice squad, you're a free agent being paid a weekly salary. And some of the clubs, I learned this one from Coach Parcells, if you had a couple, let's say I really want to keep David and Mark, and they're on my practice squad, I don't have to give you the practice squad base salary. I can give you whatever I want. So I can land up giving you $1 million if I cared to keep you on the practice squad.
And by the way, the base is $12,000 a week for 18 weeks, so it's a little over $200,000, $210,000, something.
Right.
Like
that. And so Bill always had, and a couple of guys, 2 or 3 that he said to him, look, I got a roster issue right now. I got to keep an extra corner because of injuries. I really want to keep you. So when we put you on the practice squad, we're going to keep you on your real salary, your player salary. And that doesn't mean the guy's going to stay, but a lot of them will stay if you do that for him. But otherwise, I don't have to even call you. I can go look at your practice squad and take who I want. Now, the player can say, I don't want to go. They're free. They don't have to sign with someone because they call, but most agents are trying to get the guys on real contracts.
There's a little housekeeping as far as the practice squad goes with the league right now. Pat, as we start looking towards the season, is there a team whose expectations are higher than they should be? I look at Detroit, Jacksonville. A lot's going to be made of those two teams. That's a little over the skis for some people. Is there a team that you think's expectations are set too high right now?
I think Detroit. I like Detroit a lot. I think I'll probably pick them on Labor Day here to win the division. I don't think it's going to be an easy ride, and I do think that the momentum in your home area there in Michigan is they're out of control excited that I think they've pushed them up the ladder a little more than they should. I feel a little bit, and this might sound strange, I feel a little bit that way about San Francisco. The quarterback thing is Purdy going to be healthy to go? Because if they have to go and play the next guy, Big Sam, I mean, none of us have ever spoke glowingly about Sam at other places. Is all of a sudden it's all going to work out for him? So I do think they got a couple of issues. Miami's another one, but I go back and forth on them. There are people thinking they're going to run away with the division. I haven't even brought myself to think they're going to make the playoffs. So you're asking my opinion. Those would be some of them right off the bat.
Well, and usually there's a little extra hype when the New York teams have a pulse, and they both have a pulse. And so, I'm curious. The Giants' schedule is so much harder than it was a year ago. So is the Jets' schedule, yet both teams' rosters are significantly upgraded from a year ago. But I wonder whether or not, the Jets' hype is off the charts, but even the Giants' hype is going to be extensive, particularly if the Giants beat the Cowboys week 1 on Sunday night. Look out for the Giants hype machine.
Absolutely. And I think you guys know, historically, it's going to be hard to take the Giants when you start thinking about how Dallas has played against them.
Yes, they've owned them.
They've owned them. And that doesn't really mean this time they own them, but you got to really look at it and think about that.
Also, 5-1, by the way, Cowboys in season openers against the Giants all time. 5-1, Dallas.
Yeah, and fairly dominating. So what do I think about the New York thing? Yeah, I think they're built better. And the Giants, to me, because of the lack of depth in the NFC, I think they have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Jets do. You look at that 6 and 7 spot in the NFC. We talked about this the other day. It's wide open, and a team like the Giants could be. And I looked at everyone and say, I think it's the Giants, or is it the Vikings? It's going to be no one from the West. They're gonna have their teams in the group, but the 6 and 7 slots to me make the Giants realistic playoff contenders.
How much is the Von Miller on the PUP list going to affect the way you think about Buffalo? And we've got about a minute and a half left, Pat.
Well, they got, they went out and tried to take care of that. when they went out and got the kid from the Rams. So they don't think they're going to fall apart like they did before. I'm not a big believer in Rousseau. He just hasn't played enough football. So we found out pretty quickly he couldn't do it on his own.
He's Pat Kirwan, Sirius XM's NFL Radio, moving the chains weekdays 3 to 7. CBS's NFL Today show. CBS is the Super Bowl this year. Pat will be joining us Tuesdays and Fridays at 8 o'clock, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, have a great holiday weekend, and we look forward to next week already.
Yeah, 8 division games. I can't wait to talk to you guys about those games.
Pat Kirwan joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. More on the ACC expanding next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Hops, give it time. Give it time with Jim Phillips.
And all I was doing was sending our picks to Felipe to put up on the website. Just typing on my phone. Makes it look like I'm working a lot harder than I am. All those plus 2.5s and minus 2.5s.
NC State flipped.
Yeah. According to McMurphy, it wasn't about getting the league up to but ESPN could renegotiate if it drops below 15 members.
So now they're at 18. And then if Florida State, Clemson, and I find
North
it interesting,
Carolina.
he put North Carolina leaves, they're back down to 15. Tell you what, there's a part of me, if I'm the ACC, I almost want a fourth team to leave. I almost want to then need that to have to call Notre Dame and go, well, here's the deal. Either you join or we're going to cease to exist as a conference.
And I want the Big Ten to take Florida State and Clemson. I know they want to be in the SEC, but I want this to go bad. But if it's going to go crazy, let it just go crazy. And what's Miami thinking right now, David? Time's mom get in?
Plane lands like 1:15.
Okay.
I flew her and Aunt Kathy down first class.
Right.
First time Aunt Kathy's ever flown first class. I don't know if my mom's ever flown it either. Can't wait to find out what time they left the house to go to the airport, because I know what time you and I would leave for a 10:45 flight, but I'm guessing my mother's been at the airport for a half an hour already. I'm guessing she got to the airport at 8.
For a what time flight?
10:45, 10:50.
I get to the airport probably a lot earlier than you do, but see, you fly for business now. I fly with my family.
Right.
You got 3
Totally.
people. It's just different.
Yeah, and you're carrying a lot more stuff, and right. And I'm, TSA and clear, and right. I just walk through.
I'm not. We both are TSA, which is great because you can take, Maddie gets it automatically.
You know what doesn't work for me? Because clear is supposed to work with your eyes. You just look into it. And my eyes don't work. My fingerprints do. My eyes don't. And I've tried to reset it 3 times with them. I don't know what it is.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up. Our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, and our thoughts are still with you. If there's any way that we can help, we will. Sorry that you guys got the brunt of it. It's not like Tampa St. Pete didn't get hit also. Heck, for that matter, Southwest Florida got hit in areas as well. It's been an interesting, eventful week, but football is very much upon us. And some breaking news during the show. We don't get a lot of breaking news during Miller and Moulton, particularly during the network part from 6 to 9. But Mark, news about 20 minutes ago came down the pike.
The ACC will add Stanford, Cal, and SMU in 2024. They got the 12 of 15 votes. So football is now 17 schools. SMU will not receive any media rights revenue for the first 7 years.
So the rest of the decade.
Right. Stanford and Cal will receive reduced shares.
Supposedly $72 million annually is going to be created for what ESPN contractually has to contribute per school. And then, certain things are discounted and they're covering some travel expenses and what have you. And so apparently it's 72 million, Marks, with what's been reported. And that is to be divvied up amongst the other 15 schools, if you count Notre Dame in every sport but football. And the ACC doesn't play hockey.
And the story as to why 3 teams were added, and look at the vote, was 12-3. Is that the 3 schools who voted no may be leaving. We've always thought that Florida and Clemson could get up and leave the ACC and want to leave the ACC. But now it looks as if North Carolina, with the no vote, is someone that others are talking about leaving the conference, which would devastate the ACC.
Now, if you're running the ACC, though, that's a fair assumption to make, right? I mean, Florida State and Clemson, Florida State's played the heavy. They've been the one publicly, but Clemson's been joined at their hip. I mean, Clemson feels exactly the way Florida State does. They're letting Florida State get all the slings and arrows. But at the end of the day, North Carolina voted against it. If you're Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, and you're the other university presidents, don't you then have to go, well, I guess that means they want to leave someday? Now, in theory, it could not mean that. It could just mean, no, we think this is ridiculous. Why in the world do we want to add a school from Texas and 2 from Northern California? This is absurd.
And I wonder if, any of it from the academic side, I don't pretend to know how good or bad of a school SMU is, but I've never heard them ranked in, when you look at Stanford and Cal, you're adding, from an academic standpoint, you're adding premier universities.
And Seminole Dolphin fan in our Twitch chat room says, why SMU? Well, threefold, really. First off, because they said they'd come for free for the next 7 years. So what's the harm? Safety in numbers. The second one is it does bring Texas into play. You're not in Texas. In fact, you're not close to Texas. And that is Dallas, by the way. And 40 years ago, when you were allowed to buy players, which guess what? You're now allowed to do what? Buy players legally. SMU finished second in the country. So, believe me, if TCU could play for a national championship, so can SMU. I mean, they really can. And the third is what Mark just brought up, that Brett McMurphy is reporting, that the clause in the ESPN contract is if the ACC goes below 15 schools, they can renegotiate, i.e., renegotiate less money. Well, the ACC's at 15 now. If they think Florida State, Clemson, and now North Carolina is going to leave, well, they need 3 new members to be able to have 15 schools.
And while they got SMU, they also were able to get 2 Power 5 conference schools to their conference and not have to go all G5.
This does officially end the Pac-12 as a conference. This will be the last year of the Pac-12. Even Washington State and Oregon State have said, if Cal and Stanford had gotten no votes from the ACC, their first option was to try to expand the Pac-4 and make it an 8, 10, 12-team league and make it the Pac whatever again. But they have both said publicly, if Stanford and Cal leave, it's over. Then we're going to go either Mountain West or the AAC. And believe it or not, I know Mountain West geographically, but for many more reasons, the AAC to me, Mark, looks like a better fit for whatever that means. That also, man, the AAC, big conference. I mean, that's coast to coast. I mean, think about it. That's South Florida to the Pacific Northwest. Man, that's a big conference.
Then it's really the AAC.
So this will be the last year of the Pac-12, officially, with the news today that Stanford and Cal are leaving for the ACC. So to review, if by chance you just took your phone and you lost it, and you haven't been paying attention to anything for the last however many months, USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington go where again?
That'd be the Big Ten.
Okay. The 2 Arizona schools, Utah and Colorado, go where?
The Big 12.
Stanford and Cal are going
to the ACC.
And I guess Oregon State and Washington State, they'll have to go find a home, Mountain West or AAC. Now, remember, that's just for now. We'll take a deep breath, dust ourselves off. We'll go play some football. We'll get into the basketball season. And then guess what? We'll start up again.
Whether the SEC and the Big Ten are going to raid the ACC.
And whether the Big 12 will. Now, the other thing that happens here with these 3 schools joining the conference for next year, Mark, that increases the voting members to 18. How many schools do you then need to get up and leave to dissolve the conference? 10. When it was 15, you needed a majority. That was 8. At 18, to get a majority, 9 doesn't do it, I don't believe. The bylaws, I believe, say you need a majority, not a 50-50. So now you would need 10 schools to leave. But that's when Stanford, SMU, and Cal officially join the conference. When will that be? My guess, July 1st of next year, which means what? If you want out of the ACC, you need to do it before July 1st. And don't think the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big 12 aren't going to get together and talk about that Stanford Cal SMU thing is cute. Do we just want to circumvent that right now? Who are you taking? Because I want to take these 4. Well, I want to take these 2. Well, I want to take these 2. Because remember, while it's still 15, they only need to get 8 to leave.
And I just wonder what Miami's thinking, David.
You and me both, Mark. You and me both. They have not said a word.
No.
And not only that, not a word has come out from there either. I mean, there are a few people coming to the University of Miami. They got a few people in the media. Okay, there hasn't been a peep as to what it is they deep down really want.
And as you said, Florida State taking all the brunt by being public. But we knew Clemson feels the way there's leaks out of Clemson, South Carolina that have said they're in line with what Florida State's doing. UNC, by voting no, we're still not exactly sure what North Carolina's thinking. We know what their AD's thinking, but he doesn't make any of these decisions.
Also, how is the ACC going to divvy up this $72 million annually? You just going to divvy it up evenly? My guess is they're going to do a half and half. They're going to cut everybody, let's just say like a $2 million check. Here, thanks for playing. Maybe $3 million, 1 per school. But then they're going to take the rest of the money. Let's just say it's $2 million, divvied up amongst 15. And so you got $42 million left. Is that the money that's put into the performance-based pool, where if you're Florida State and Clemson and you win the football conference, you win, who just won the ACC basketball conference? Also, you doing regular season or conference championship game? How you handing out these bonuses? Think about it. Miami, my guess is they would hand out 2 bonuses for basketball. They'd hand out regular season champ and they'd hand out postseason tournament champ.
And if you're the Big 10, SEC, and Big 12, you're looking at that model going, and not all the schools, but the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Michigans, they're looking at that going, we really want to give Northwestern and Rutgers all this money? What are they really contributing to our conference?
Now, granted, Purdue won the men's basketball championship, at least in the regular season last year. I'm trying to remember. They win the postseason tournament too? I forget. I thought they did. But before they then lost to the 16 seed, just had to get that in. I mean, that bonus check would make the loss feel a little better, but not much. Even Matt Painter did an interview the other day in which he goes, I'm trying to think about us winning the Big Ten title, but I seemingly keep thinking back to one game.
Gee, I wonder why.
Right. But, the ACC won 9 national championships last year. Of all the sports and conferences, they actually, as a conference, won the most national championships. I mean, how are they going to spread this money out? Every championship can't mean the same, right? We only going to count the revenue generating sports and not count the Olympic sports?
And by the way, interesting too, because every school has most schools have a third sport that's a revenue generating sport. They're all different, David.
Exactly. It's soccer at some places. It's lacrosse at some places. Also, what's the distribution going to be when Stanford and Cal join? There is no better athletic department than Stanford, top to bottom. I mean, if you're handing out money for the Olympic sports, you might as well just cut the check to Stanford now. Most Olympians provided by a college, Stanford. 4th most Olympians, Cal. So the ACC is going coast to coast with virtually nothing in between.
Man, they sure did make Stanford and Cal get up early for that conference call.
Hey, it was worth it.
I know. Breakfast is on us in Palo Alto today, huh?
Do I have to change my pick? I picked Hawaii earlier in the show, getting 3 tonight, because I said today's going to be a disastrous day for Stanford. They're going to get a no vote by lunch for the ACC, and then they're going to lose on the island to the Rainbows.
And they're buying chicken and waffles for everybody this morning, David, because they are in the ACC.
They may kick Hawaii's butt tonight by 21. They're so excited. Feel like that scene. Okay. And we got ourselves a sponsor. All right. Now Stanford's going to be like, we got ourselves a conference.
Oh, wow.
Right out of Days of Thunder.
So Stanford and Cal are in the ACC. I've got to say it a few more times to believe it myself.
And SMU. And feel a little sad for South Florida. But I do think there will come a time for South Florida in the ACC. I really do. When Florida State and or Miami look to leave and the ACC is trying to keep it together.
I would challenge you on that because the money's not the difference is SMU has the money. You got to find the schools out there that have the money, David.
Mark, I wonder, and it's a huge gamble. It's like being in business. Do you invest and go all in thinking this is the only way I can get the people to come, but you've laid out all your money and they haven't shown up yet? And to me, I'm wondering, however many years down the road it is, if South Florida is going to have to look around and go, listen, we got to get in a power whatever conference. And I know we're putting tens, if not $100+ million on the line here. I don't know what to tell you. We have to get in a power conference. We got to roll the dice and take this gamble. We're building the stadium. We've upgraded our facilities. We think we've hired the right coach, in which you go, listen, we got to roll the damn dice here and just trust that we're going to pull this sucker off.
I just don't see the financial end of someone. SMU has the money. Stanford has the money. Cal has the money. They made this happen because they have the cash. South Florida doesn't have that kind of money. They don't even know how they're paying for the football stadium. I mean, they're having to borrow to do that. It's not like a donor came in and just slapped down $200 million and said, here.
So you're trying to say that they're not going to be able to do what they did in Orlando and actually go to the county taxpayers and ask for some money like UCF did and got a yes vote?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Wonder if we could tie it into a new Rays stadium. No? That was a joke. I'm surprised. I'm not shocked. I am surprised. I would have kept betting my $20 on no. Stanford, Cal, SMU to the ACC? No. I thought I didn't think NC State would go against North Carolina. I find it fascinating that they decided to separate themselves from North Carolina, because now the Tar Heels can certainly separate themselves from the Wolfpack down the road now, can't they? Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. See, contract talks broke off between Evans and the Bucks. They won't make money, Deadstroke, but what they have is oil money behind them that has said, we'll pay for your athletic department. Don't worry about the money you're getting from the conference. We'll cover it. It's very simple. Oil money is paying for SMU's athletic department for the next 7 years.
Yeah, 6 guys said we got $400 million covered. How much you need? Well, I need about 75 to 100 from each of you. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, it's one of all the lines that Miller and Moulton have ever recited, and we don't fully recite it because of the language in it. Okay, but it may be the favorite line between the two of us. Billions. Mark, how does it go again?
What's the point of having FU money if you can't say FU once in a while?
There you go. Axe in Bill was like, well, what's the point of having money if I can't say mm-mm?
I still think Succession's better than Billions, David.
Well, listen, I don't think Billions is a top 10 show, although the
first 2-3 seasons
were outstanding.
Now, apparently, and my mom just got it for the last season. Apparently, the season without Axe was well received, like critically.
Okay.
She said it's good. She's already binge watched that one. She's not watched the last season yet.
Thank you, Sonny. Yeah,
thanks, Sonny.
Pat could do an hour about Gil Brandt, and if Mark and I have had the luxury of being able to sit down and have a beer and some apps with Pat. I mean, you get Pat telling the stories. Woo-wee. But Gil Brandt did just walk up to people in the NFL and say, listen, you need to hire this person. He's walked up to executives with teams and say, you need to hire this guy. He got Jason Horowitz hired as the guy doing the NFL draft for the NFL. He walked right up to Goodell and he said, I've just been sitting here listening to this guy. You got to hire him. He's terrific.
Did you see the bull riding shotgun in the car?
I did.
Yes.
Amazing.
incredible.
Amazing. I'm impressed the car held up. I'm impressed the bull stayed in the seat.
Right, like what kind of car was it? Like a Toyota, a Nissan?
No, I thought it was like
it's like a Cadillac.
No,
I thought.
yeah, no, it was a
American car.
Yeah, it was an old school. Yeah,
I hope Cadillac stocks rise because of it.
well, the best American car ever built.
Cadillac?
I'd put a
Yeah.
Cadillac. I'd put a Cadillac engine up against any manufacturer ever.
I will say the Escalade is probably like
Sharp. It's
like in that class of those
Mhm.
kinds
Yeah.
of vehicles, it's the best.
It's either a
the
Ford
best.
Taurus. It looks like it's either a Ford Taurus or a Chevy Caprice. I can't really tell.
Could you imagine? You got to pull that thing over. What if the bull gets unruly?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Which got even more football-y, if that could be. The ACC's expanding. Stanford, Cal, SMU, come on down. Because literally, Mark, the price was right. SMU, free. Stanford and Cal at a deep discount for at least the next 7 years. Basically, half of the television contract they've got left with ESPN. We'll deal with things in the 2030s. A lot's probably going to change between now and then anyway. Welcome aboard. Can't wait for the ACC schedule next year. Lee.
SMU just bought their way into a Power 5 conference.
For free, essentially. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to give the ACC any money. They just said, no, we won't take any. We're good. No, how long? I don't know, 5-7 years. Make it 7. Deal.
But football's that big there that they were able to go to a handful of boosters and say, here's what we have in mind. We're going to approach the ACC. We think with the Pac-12 going down, we think we can be the school, but we're going to do it this way. We're not going to ask them for a dime. So what we need to do this is about $400 million. Do you think the 6 of you can cover it? And they said yes. It is amazing, David.
Listen, you are correct in that the difference between SMU and South Florida is money. Big money. But I really think that all the other characteristics are very similar. Look at what SMU's going up against. Texas A&M. Never mind the influence of Arkansas and Oklahoma, even in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm just talking about within their own borders, within really their own quadrant, if you will. Now Houston's in the Big 12. TCU just played for the national title. Baylor has become an athletic force in the last 10 years. And there's SMU on the outside looking in. And I think they looked around at one another and they said, we can't be the only one. I mean, even if you want to go out far out as Lubbock, I mean, we can't be the only one in this state. You know, we're in the same category basically as Texas San Antonio. No
And
way.
rights. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, can't do it. We got to get in with at least TCU, with at least Houston. You know, come on now. And Mark, I wonder if you're South Florida now that UCF has joined the party. If you're not looking around going, we're going to have to be prepared in the next year or two to pull an SMU. Just so you know, we're going to have to buy our way in too. Now, it's possible all hell could break loose and the ACC may call us up and offer us a full share right away if that conference begins to fall apart. But we may have to be prepared if Florida State, Clemson, and a couple others leave, the ACC may have their choosing.
Well, and this gets us to a discussion we had we've had in the last month, couple of times. There's this money that's been buying up sports around the world.
Right.
And when is it going to come to collegiate athletics? And we're talking about the Saudis and the PIF fund.
I mean, all it would take is a phone call. I mean, does it matter if they call you or you call them? How desperate are you? How much does it mean to you? If you think the future of your university, a certain level, is at stake, do you care? Just throwing it out there. We'll see. But let's just deal with today. Stanford, Cal, and SMU in the ACC. Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina officially voted no. They got outvoted 12-3. They reached the 75% threshold. They're in. FSU, Clemson. And I will say this, Mark. I do think Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina also made a statement, because we know how this works a lot of times. We get a group together and say if 7 out of 10 of us go a certain way, then the resolution's passed. Well, we're fighting and yelling at each other when the vote's 5-5 and 6-4. But the minute it gets to 7, a lot of times the other 3 will either abstain or sign on and make it unanimous. Well, if we're going to do this, we might as well be a unified front, blah, blah, blah. And there are a lot of people that thought when the day came, if they got the 12th vote, that Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina would either abstain or they'd actually vote yes. And all 3 went, oh, no, want it on record. No. Mm-mm. And you can interpret it any way you want. Is North Carolina now in the same boat as Florida State and Clemson, which is, you know what, come to think of it, maybe we should leave.
And I would focus more on the Canes down here, but the Canes in Virginia, the other 2 schools that have been always reported to be the schools that jump, where are they?
Because the other thing, Mark, we want to know what Miami is thinking and feeling, because we're not hearing anyone else thinking, feeling, talking about Miami. In the Big Ten, who do we keep hearing? Carolina and Virginia. We're not hearing Miami. And are you going to take that closeness of geography, Virginia, over the geographic benefits of having Miami? You could argue it both ways. The one thing Virginia does do, though, what does it do? It connects North Carolina back to Maryland, and then all the states. And then, of course, you got Nebraska and the West Coast schools, so I don't know if that means anything anymore. But once upon a time, Mark, it was cute.
And I've never read this, never heard it. I just wonder if at any point, because Notre Dame was the key to bringing in Stanford and Cal. Notre Dame was the biggest supporter of this happening. I'm wondering if there was any give and take, if, by Notre Dame to say, will you play a 6th conference game next year? Because they're going to want Stanford every year on their schedule, David. And you're not going to want to lose. That goes then to 4 games, because I would think Notre Dame wants Stanford every year on their schedule.
Well, Mark, you brought that up, I believe, earlier in the week, and it was a great point. I've had others reach out to me this week, and they were listening at that time, and they said Mark's idea was great. That you say to Notre Dame, I'll give you the vote, but then you got to play 6 games. And if one of them Stanford every year, then that's fine. That's fine. Okay. If
you're not going to lose a game because they get Stanford every year.
Exactly. You can't have it both ways. You get Stanford, and we only get you playing now 4 of our schools, so to speak. No way. So I'm totally with you. That's the deal I would have made with Notre Dame. Well, we'll go along, but you got to now play 6.
Can't wait till we get the Catholics versus the Methodists.
Well, now you're getting pretty close to home for me there, Mark.
I know. It'd be a tough game in your house. You married into a Methodist household, and you're a Notre Dame fan, David.
I married a Methodist minister's daughter. Yeah. I know I've told this story on the air, but it's worth telling again. So we're starting to get serious. We're having a Sunday dinner, and, I had to go to church. Dad, preached, and whole family goes. And so, I'm sitting in the first 3 pews at a service, and, I'm I'm a Christmas and Easter Catholic. So it's like, okay, so now we're having dinner and it's in the, their living room in Binghamton, New York, and the whole deal. And they seem to be getting along okay. The daughter's sitting next to me and, you got the brother and his wife and, the mother, father, and what have you. And we're eating. And then all of a sudden, while I'm literally shoveling a huge thing of potatoes into my mouth, my future mother-in-law says, out of nowhere too. I mean, we're not even within a time zone of this topic. My future mother-in-law says, so David, what do you think of the Methodists? And as I am eating the potatoes, I said, well, okay, they play good defense and they're strong up the middle. And the women all looked at each other.
It's one of the best lines you've ever uttered.
And my future brother-in-law and father-in-law damn near high-fived, kind of like, well, I don't know what the women vote on him, but he's a yes to me. So
you diffused it and made a joke all at the same time. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid, especially with potatoes. Because I mean, you and a carb, you might have just stayed in the potatoes and not answered. That could have been an option right there.
Fortunately, they were mashed. I could swallow them so quickly that I wasn't technically talking with my mouth full. At least that was my explanation in my head. So, Stanford, Cal, and SMU to the ACC. The Pac-12 has literally disintegrated before our eyes.
And that's what the ACC was thinking. If we don't do this, are we the next Pac-12? And are they anyway?
Right. It does need to be pointed out that apparently there's a clause in ESPN's contract with the ACC that if the ACC had gone below 15 members, and remember, Notre Dame counts as a member in every sport but one. If it goes below 15, ESPN gets to renegotiate the deal. And obviously they would renegotiate it downward. Well, if you've got Florida State and Clemson at the very least wanting to leave, but now that North Carolina's an adamant no, I mean, if you're SMU, by the way, you should always have a soft spot for North Carolina. North Carolina's no vote got you in. Because in theory, if they're thinking, well, we got to cover our butt about Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina leaving since they just voted no, well, then we need 3. We don't need Stanford and Cal. We need Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Because if they leave, we go what? Back down from 18 to 15. Well, as long as we're at 15, we still have that ESPN television contract.
And obviously the grant of rights is still out there in the ACC. That doesn't go away. And what David brought up last segment is, what does that mean from a voting standpoint? And if the ACC is going to implode, it'll happen before the new schools join the ACC.
Because right now you have 15 members for this year. So you only need 8 of the 15 to leave to dissolve the conference. But if you're going to expand to 18, now you need 10 votes. So in theory, if you're one of the schools that are thinking of leaving, don't you have to leave by like the spring of next year before Stanford, Cal, and SMU officially join? I would think you'd have to leave next spring. I would think if you're Florida State, Clemson, and whoever else, the clock is now ticking. You got about 8 months.
Speaking of the clock ticking, it's ticking in Tampa Bay as well. We'll talk about that next. Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour, brought to you by Todd and Jason at the Diamond District.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, here's the funny thing, Buried in Bourbon. I have no hope for them. I don't think they go to a bowl game, but I was putting a golf shirt on this morning. I'm going to play golf this afternoon, and I was like, I'm wearing my Spartan stuff. It's the last time we'll be undefeated. We could lose to Central Michigan tonight, and my phone will blow up with Chippewa fans annoying the crap out of me.
I hate to do it, but I got to do it. I mean, 13 minutes, 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. If my wife hadn't worked today, and I begged her not to, but she only works twice a week, and this is one of her days, and I was like, and because in theory we're, still afternoon daycare where we
Right.
pick her up, but of course we didn't know that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we'd have the storm, we'd have no daycare, but I wanted her to like work Wednesday, Thursday, and have today off. Yeah. Adam, I am riding the Jags hard. If they don't deliver this year, you're going to take it out on me because I'm almost willing to go 12-5 on the Jags. I'm at least going to 11.
Let me tell you where I'm at, David. Let's see what folder it's in. I got 3 folders here.
That's right. Somebody played the schedule game.
Well, I played the schedule game, and then I had to do some adjusting. I have Jacksonville 13-4.
Wow!
2 seed though.
Cincinnati
Chiefs.
Oh, but Cincinnati's winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Oh, because of Taylor Swift. I love our reasoning. I do.
But you know what? How is mine? All these experts.
No
rhyme or reason.
No, I'm picking Oregon State to win the Pac-12. Why? As a middle finger to the rest of the college world, we're going to have a Pac-12 school win the Pac-12. Literally, the last 2 schools left are Washington State and Oregon State. One of them's got to win it, right? Oh no, CBW. If the Jags don't go over, it's Trevor Lawrence is lost early in the year to a season-ending injury. Honestly,
that's all it is. It's 9.5. I'd hammer that.
Hammer that. Hell, they got 9 last year. crossover schedules. They play the AFC North, but they play the NFC South. And remember, they get San Francisco, Kansas City, Cincinnati all at home, and Buffalo and London. They don't play any of the 4 first-place teams on the road. Fam, there are times for both of us in which this show is a glorious distraction. I mean, we did a show the afternoon. My father died in the morning. I did a show that afternoon. You know, what am I going to do? Sit home?
Right.
He's dead in New Jersey. What am I going to do? Where are you going to go? I'm a bad person. I really don't mean to be. God.
And David, it is why I will. In fact, I will give you my login for Max so you can start watching Succession, because Logan Roy is so rotten. The number of times he tells his kids to F off. A show, not in a show. I would set the over-under of the number.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts, that sort of thing, all coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. You posted our picks, right?
I emailed them to Felipe, and he's going to post them.
Okay, so sometime by midday Saturday, okay, Mark made 5 picks because apparently our pick segment is like a fabulous 5. I had a 2014 flashback to our first act, and I went with a Super 7. Apparently, we ditched that like early in the Obama years.
And you don't even have an excuse, because normally you send me the show rundown in the morning. And if you send it in the morning and you would have done that, I would have let you have a pass. You sent this last night when you admit that you were at your top level. The wires are all connected at that time.
Totally. I got the Gator game on. Mind is still fresh. Yeah. So Lee Sterling with his picks, by the way, he's laying points with Michigan, North Carolina, Clemson, and LSU. He's taking Miami of Ohio in the points tonight. He thinks the Canes win, but they don't cover. They're 6-10 against the number in their last 16 home games.
How many wardrobe changes are you going to have today, Felipe? Just curious. You've got your Marlins gear on now. You're going to the Canes game tonight. So is this like, are you like a teenage girl going to school today? Is this like a 3 wardrobe day for you?
Not quite. So I'm downing the teal Florida Marlins jersey from the late 90s. And the last time I went to Hard Rock Stadium, I was wearing this jersey and I blend in with the seats. And I kind of like that, because if Miami loses today, I would want to not be seen there, because
they're a 17-point favorite, Felipe.
Yeah, so they were against Middle Tennessee as well.
He's still scarred, Mark. Those scars from the Canes last year, he does not realize it's 2023, going all the way back to March. And, do we have to go through the litany? Canes and FAU basketball. Hell, even Nova Southeastern went undefeated, won the D2 title. I mean, the Heat, the Panthers, the Marlins 500 heading into September, only 3 out of a playoff spot. I mean, Felipe, we can't. The Dolphins, with as good a roster as they've had probably since Dave Wanstead went out and got Ricky Williams. I mean, honestly, this is it, baby. This is the year of Miami sports. The Canes are not going to fall apart on you tonight.
Now, against A&M, all bets are off.
Right. But come on now. But Lee Sterling says they're not going to cover. So keep that in mind. What were you saying about Tampa Bay?
Well, Mike Evans, his agent at least, has given the Bucs a deadline of September 9th. Apparently, contract negotiations broke off yesterday. Evans wants to be a Buck for the rest of his career, but they are not on the same page as far as the contract goes. And Evans and his team have given the Bucs a deadline of the 9th.
Now, I'm almost always pro player. And yet, in this case, for as much as I love Mike Evans, and to me, if he retired today, he's a Hall of Famer. Only wide receiver in the history of the league to have started his career with 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I think he's going to have a 10th, by the way, if he stays healthy and plays 15 or more games. But I would trade him. But if I was overruled,
and let's just say, for sake of argument, you are, because it seems as if the Bucs want, they're
Right.
negotiating. They want to sign him. They want to keep him.
Right. If the owner or what have you is just like, no, we're not trading Mike Evans. Well, then I would sign him. I would. And yeah, it might be an extra $2 million a year that I want to give up. Okay. Come on now. The cap is almost at $250 million right now. By 2025, it's going to be almost $300 million. It's going to be at least $280. What are we talking here? We're talking less than 1% of the cap. If I give him $2 million extra per year than I really want to give him, I am giving Mike Evans less than 1% of our salary cap more than I want to be handing out. Seriously? For a guy who's what? Our best player? Second best player? Even 2 years from now, what? You think he'll be our third? I hope he's our 6th or 7th best player. That means we've gotten really good,
We drafted really well.
Right. I don't understand. Like, I understand with Christopher Wilkins. Apparently, they've agreed on the annual salary. It's just how much of it are we going to guarantee? Okay. I could see having a thing here. But come on. I mean, in Christopher Wilkins' case, we're talking $25 million or more a year. In Mike Evans' case, we're not talking, I don't think, $20 million. Now, I'm sure he asked for it. That was Amari Cooper's contract a few years ago. I'm sure he's asking for it. But, I mean, I think I could look at Mike Evans and go, come on now. You're going to be 31, 32, 33 the first 3 years of this deal. I mean, what do you say? 3 for 55. By the way, I'll fully guarantee it. You got to take less, but I'll guarantee all of it. Because what's the point of me giving you a 3-4 year deal I'll give you 4 for 88, but I'm only going to guarantee the first 2 years of it. You and I both know what that means. It means I'm cutting you after 2 years. So how about this? I give you less money. I'll guarantee all of it. You've earned it. You will have given me 10 years.
Well, I think the reason, talks hit a snag is probably because of that guaranteed money. That seems to be what the problems are between players and teams right now. Find me a contract, David, that the dispute between player and team is not over what the guaranteed amount of money is. It's not even the years anymore. It's the guaranteed.
Well, once again, the NFL is trying to change the rules in the middle of negotiation. It were the teams, the league, if you will, who came up with the 70% clause. We're only going to guarantee 70% of these deals. Okay. Well, now you got players who they're not even getting the 70% offer. They're like, hold on a second. You guys are the ones that made a big deal about this. 70%. I'll take 70%. We're not going to guarantee 70%. What the heck? Why not? You guys set the rules. Yeah, we're changing the rules. You can't do that. Hell,
yes,
we can.
It's our league.
Right. Where are you going to go? CFL?
There's no live football league out there for you guys.
I mean, or how about this with Mike Evans? Fine. You want $22 million a year for whatever reason? Fine. I'll give you 4 for 88. I'm only going to guarantee 55 of it. Just tell you that right now. Structure this however you want to structure it. I'm only going to guarantee you 55. I'm going to guarantee you the contract I really want to offer you. I want to offer you 3 for 55 fully guaranteed. When you're 31, 32, and 33 years of age, by the way, in your 11th, 12th, and 13th seasons.
You're not going to get better, Mike.
No.
We know that for sure. You bring a lot to this team. We get the leadership qualities. We get that you make the rest of our receiver room better, but you're not getting better.
And you're probably not going to get more guaranteed money out there. So I'll fully guarantee it. Or fine, I'll give you the deal you and your agent want. I'll give you 4 for 88. What part of I'm only guaranteeing 55 are you guys having trouble hearing?
But the clock is ticking. And see if they get a deal done before week 1, because he will not negotiate after that, according to his agent.
Remember, the trade deadline's Halloween, 4 in the afternoon on Halloween. That's a Tuesday. I believe it's after week 7.
I will say, if they don't get a deal done, it to me would say trade him.
Well, listen, you and I are fans of other sports where guys have been traded and then re-signed. In fact, sometimes they kind of work out an understanding. Listen, we have the team you come back to in 3 months, wink, wink, okay, could be made better, wink, wink. If you agree to a trade, you get to go play for a good team the rest of this year, and we'll bring you back and we'll be better, wink, wink, because you let us trade you. Hear what I'm saying? Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, huh? Nudge,
Yeah.
nudge.
Nudge, nudge, nod, nod. Yep.
So we'll see what happens with Mike Evans, but right now they are not on the same page as far as the contracts go. We'll finish the week out with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. That's how we do it. Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's funny, Barry.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even notice that until right there. That is something. That's awful.
I always keep it because it looks weird when I shave.
Because you can't grow this in, can you? Is this bad here?
Well, I can't grow a goatee. No, unfortunately not.
Were you in a Jeep yesterday?
I was.
Whose is that?
Soph's.
Whose is the Benz?
So the Benz was her mom's because she had a sedan that needed to get worked on. So her parents came down, took the sedan, and left her mom's car, which was that car, which is a great car, 2013. Oh my God, it has a twin turbo V8 in it. I loved it, but it guzzled gas and it was terrible. Her dad ended up trading in her old sedan and bought her a Jeep, and it is a badass Jeep.
It's a nice Jeep.
It's sweet because it's a 2014 with only 62,000 miles on it. It's got a new front bumper because I guess he bought it used and they had a fender bender, and Jeep replaced the front bumper with a new front bumper.
It's a nice Jeep.
Yeah, new front bumper, new headlights. It's gorgeous. Off-road tires. It's fantastic.
Speaking of gas guzzlers, Jeeps get lousy drive, especially when you put those type of tires on them.
Right, but you put regular gas in them. With the Benz, you got to put 93.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So you're spending
Yeah.
$90 to fill up your tank, whereas this is more like $50 or like $55. Yeah, you saw that bourbon? No, he pimped it. He's so damn good.
You're a pumpkin person, Adam? I thought you were a man. The hell? Go get a pumpkin spice latte then. Holy cow.
Yeah. That's a playoff series right there.
Thank you, Mike Gundy.
That's a great soundbite.
Well played, Adam. Well played.
Oh, boy.
Almost done with that summer cold.
Do you do that, what Gator Dad said, where every time it's just half a tank, you just fill it up?
No.
Yeah. I remember Shaq and Kenny or Shaq and Chuck were having a debate about that. That Shaq does that.
I filled my tank up with just a little more than a quarter tank. That's probably I just happened to be at Costco, so I'm like, there was no line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those that waits for the light to come on.
By the way, I know you don't really care just because you're leasing it, but the new Chevy Colorado is so nice. It completely redesigned it.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. Saw one on the road yesterday for the first time.
I've heard that.
Yeah, the ZR2s.
I just can't wait till my lease is up so I can get rid of that thing. I hate that thing.
It guzzles gas, too.
It doesn't guzzle it, but...
Well, that's the thing. These modern cars...
I don't drive anywhere.
Right. Your commute is so short.
I literally I've less than 13,000 miles on that car, and I've had it for...
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District in Coconut Point. No one better. Best selection. Knowledgeable staff, best prices, and make sure when you stop in the Diamond District, you tell them that Miller and Moulton sent you.
See, that music is exactly why I have it there. The last segment on Friday, sending you off into the weekend. That's weekend music right there.
For you, it is.
For right.
For
most
you,
of
it
our
is.
audience, it's not.
No.
Right.
But that's all right. I've gotten to where I've gotten into it. You've won me over, Felipe.
Okay.
When it first happened and you went in the club, and I know why you did it. I know, you're a big fan of a certain show and you kind of brought that element into it, and that's fine. You can't ever leave South Beach, no matter how far you will ever get away.
Nope.
It's your ode to South Beach. So I've learned to, bop the head a little bit. Sometimes bounce in the chair a little bit, because this chair has tremendous bounce.
Yeah.
So I can bounce in the chair. And that's about the end of my dancing. I don't think anybody really needs to see that. In fact, I probably shouldn't even put that on twitch.tv.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1752 we start today. Pennsylvania's new state house bell, we know it as the Liberty Bell, arrives in Philadelphia from the Whitechapel Foundry in London.
Do they still ring that thing? No, right?
No.
Yeah. I wonder when the
They
last
have a different
time...
bell. They've replaced the Liberty Bell with up top. The Liberty Bell is now...
When did they discontinue it? Only a really long
the
time
1800s,
ago.
I believe. 1905, Alberta and Saskatchewan joined Canada as their 8th and 9th provinces. Today in 1931, Lou Gehrig hits his 3rd Grand Slam in 4 days and 6th homer in consecutive days in a 5-1 win over the Red Sox. Claire Hollingsworth, today in 1939, gets what they called the scoop of the century. She becomes the first to report the outbreak of World War II. I think that qualifies as scoop of the century.
Yeah. Yeah, checks out.
Today in 54, the Hitchcock film Rear Window with James Stewart and Grace Kelly was released. Also in 54, Bear Bryant opens the 10-day mini camp in Junction, Texas. Today in 1964, Mansunori Murakami becomes the first Japanese-born player to appear in a Major League Baseball game. He throws a scoreless inning for the Giants in a loss to the Mets. 1967, reliever Bob Lee walks Dick Groat with the bases loaded in the 21st inning to give the Giants a 1-0 win over the Reds.
1-0 after 21 innings?
Correct.
That is hell. That is why they introduced the man on second in extras. That right there.
Today in 69, Muammar Gaddafi deposes the king of Libya in the Libyan Revolution. 1971, the Pirates start what is believed to be the first all-black lineup, several Latinos as well in MLB history. Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente among those that were starting that day. Today in 1972, Bobby Fischer beats the Russian, the first American to win the chess grandmaster title. Tracy Austin in 77 becomes the youngest ever play in the U.S. Open at age 14 years, 8 months, and 20 days. She would win her first-round match. Today in 1979, U2 released their first record. It was an EP titled U2 3, available only in Ireland. What's Love Got to Do with It? Hit number 1 today in 84. That same day, Willie Totten passes for an NC1AA record, 536 yards and 9 TDs in an 86-0 win over Kentucky State. This guy named Jerry Rice would catch 17 passes for 294 yards and 5 TDs to break his own NCAA record for total yardage in pass receptions. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville claims the $1 million bonus for winning 3 of the 4 Crown Jewel races, winning the Daytona 500, the Winston 500, and the Southern 500 today in 85. Also today in 85, we discovered the Titanic wreckage near Newfoundland. 15-year-old Michael Chang becomes the youngest man to win a match at the U.S. Open when he beats Paul McNamee in 4 sets in the opening round today in 1987.
Imagine losing to a 15-year-old. Come on now.
Exactly.
That I would just stop playing tennis. I'm like, all right, clearly I'm not good enough if I'm losing to a 15-year-old.
Well, and Michael Chang too, because it's not like he was this big imposing. He was little as an adult. He wasn't wasn't a big guy.
Yeah.
It's not like you're playing a Sampras that's
It's not like
6'4" with a booming serve or
it's not
something
like
like
you're
that.
losing to 15-year-old Alcaraz or whatever.
Michael Moore's first documentary, Roger and Me, was released today in 1989. Today in 1999, Mario Lemieux becomes the first player to become the owner of the team that he played for. Becomes the new owner of the Penguins today in 99.
In NHL history or just history?
The Penguins become the first club in pro sports history to be owned by a former member of the team.
Wow.
Roger Goodell began his tenure as NFL commissioner today in 2006.
Ooh. Who was the commissioner before him?
Roselle.
Oh, right.
Or Tagliabue. Roselle Tagliabue. Goodell. Today in 2007, Corey Lynch, product of the 239 for App State, blocks a field goal attempt as App State beats Michigan 34-32.
Wait, that guy's from the 239?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Damn, he's up there with Dion.
I think he went to ECU, I think, Evangelical.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's where he went to high school.
Oh, infamous moment.
Today in 2016, Colin Kaepernick kneels during a preseason game against the Chargers. No one noticed it right away. It'd be a couple weeks later that we would all notice and lose our collective minds.
Gosh, that felt like it was 10 years ago.
Justin Verlander, case 14, and throws his third career no-hitter today in 2019. And in 2021, Cristiano Ronaldo breaks the world record for goals scored in men's international football with his 110th and 111th goals for Portugal in a qualifier over the Republic of Ireland.
You know what that is, Mark? That's a celebration.
Rocky Marciano and Conway Twitty, both born today. Al Geiberger, the first player to have a sub-60 round on the PGA Tour, is 86. Lily Tomlin is 83. Barry Gibbs, 77. Dr. Phil is 73. Gloria Estefan is 66. Kenny Mayne, 64. Hardy Nickerson is 58. Zach Thomas is 50. And Jason Taylor is 49 years old today.
Well, lucky for you, I have nothing. So
No?
No. I mean, I could probably look up some NBA,
Nothing from the bubble today? I was a little nervous.
I mean, what? Jimmy scored 40 and beat the Bucks? Does that matter?
No.
The Bucks thought they were, something, but they weren't.
No, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter then. It doesn't matter now.
Matters to me, though. It matters to me.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we go to Alaska for the good, where an abandoned baby walrus is being taken care of around the clock by rescue workers who have to cuddle with the baby walrus.
Oh.
Apparently, a baby walrus is cuddled by its mother for 2 years before it's let out. So around the clock cuddling. Would you cuddle with the walrus?
Oh my
Would you
gosh.
volunteer to cuddle with the baby walrus?
Absolutely. I'd do that for free.
And that's what they're doing. For the bad, we'll go to Fort Myers, where yesterday a Lee Tran bus driver hit a bicyclist.
Oh, boy.
And then kept right on and going. Jeffrey Phillips was the bus driver who crashed into the man. He continued his route. According to FHP, camera's footage showed the bus strike the bicyclist. He was arrested at bus headquarters and taken to the Lee County Jail.
Now, was it a head-on collision? Because buses are really long. Did he swipe him from the back or...
It says he ran the man over, according to the story, but the man suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. That'll be his new bus.
Ugh, thankfully, he's okay.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Dallas, where a man came home to his apartment to find his apartment completely emptied out. Turns out the apartment manager had the wrong unit number and evicted the wrong person, throwing all of this man and his daughter's belongings in a dumpster. Everything from clothes to groceries was gone. And there's even a hitch in the giddy-up because the guy's ex-girlfriend is the one that leased the apartment. Even though he's paying rent every month, the apartment has made a turnabout, and they're not doing much to help this guy out, even though it was their mistake.
Oh, that's a mess.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 1st, 2023.
Nope. Couldn't be me.
Lots going on. Obviously tonight, college football, the Canes, they are a 17-point favorite against Miami. That one is at 7 o'clock. That is on the ACC network. Sparty plays Central Michigan. That's on FS1, also at 7 o'clock. Louisville and Georgia Tech, 7:30 on ESPN. Stanford and Hawaii, CBS Sports Network at 11 p.m. tonight. Those are your 4 college football games with spreads. There's a couple other, Howard and Eastern Michigan, Missouri State and Kansas also being played tonight. But that's one FCS versus FBS. And those games, well, quite frankly, are preseason games for the most part that really don't matter. They do count in the standings, obviously. Baseball, full slate. Cubs and Reds with a double dip today. Marlins taking on the Nats. Tampa Bay is in Cleveland. The big series is late night. After you get done with that football, Braves and Dodgers. Second game of their series after a great one to start the series yesterday.
Whew. Mookie with 2 home runs. Acuna with a grand slam.
And an epic bat flip.
Oh, my goodness.
I am so happy that we're not beaning guys for bat flips.
Right. That was a thing like 3 or 4 years ago.
It was a thing for 30 or 40 years. If you showed up the pitcher in any way, shape, or form after a home run, you didn't just run. You were going to get beamed the next time.
Well, yeah, I know. But it's really escalated recently in the history of Major League Baseball. But now I think we've just accepted it, and I love it. Because it's great for the game. Come on.
If you're liking it, it's the whole point of why it's working. You know, like I've said it a million times, but my daughter loves Randy Arozarena. Why? Because he does his little pose after big hits. And she knows exactly who he is because of that.
It is no different than Golden Tate blowing past you and backpedaling in the end zone as he looks at you.
But baseball's the one sport where the stupid unwritten rules that I have despised forever. And there are still teams that play by them. The Cardinals still play by them. They're going to plunk you if you do something.
Yeah, lighten up.
I could not agree more.
Or just win. Be better. How about that?
You know, I had one of my good friends. She ran the hockey team that I worked for. She was the business manager. And she and the coach were friends as well, the three of us. And our coach used to come in after games and used to always complain to her. And she knew hockey very well. And we didn't get this number of power plays. And she'd just let him go on and on and on. And she'd look at him and she'd go, score more goals.
Thank you.
Don't know what to tell you. We are going to be off on Monday for Labor Day. It'll be a best of show. We'll be back Tuesday morning to recap everything from a great weekend of football. LSU and Florida State, obviously the key game of the weekend. David and I on opposite sides of that one. David picking FSU. I'm picking LSU. I can't wait for that football game. I think it's so big for both because LSU's got to go through the gauntlet of the SEC. Florida State's got to play Clemson. The loser seemingly would have to run the table to get to the college football playoff. And that's a tall ask. And that's why you don't see many of these early games with a lot of meaning. But LSU, Florida State, a monster, 2-point spread. Can't wait for that one. Have a spectacular and safe Labor Day weekend. We'll do it all over again Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes